Heyo everybody, what's up? Tom here, back at you with another video. And you look at the title, you can see exactly what we're going to be doing. We're going to be farming Abyss slash building up a temple from scratch with a Smith of Kitava bear form slammy boy. And that's what we're going to do. So I'm just running maps. And at this point, I'm kind of still running Architect to build up. I only have 5 out of 6. What's it called? I only have 5 out of 6 of the lock talismans. Of the talisman slots. Is that what they're called? Talismans? Whatever it is, I only have 5 out of 6 of the thing that you need 6 of, so I'm still farming Architect. And I have 36 out of 60 max charges. So I actually want to grand project this. Oh, I can't because I died on it. That sucks, bro. I forgot I'm not supposed to run juicers on towers. Oh, so stupid. I'm supposed to run T14 bullshit on towers, not... Oh, no. Oh, you know what I gotta do, actually? I was respecking from Ritual to Abyss.
I speak.
I need to do my Atlas passives here. I have some gold now, right? Yeah. Alright, so I want to get these Rogue Exile things. I definitely want... maximum sockets? Who cares about maximum sockets? The corrupted... Do I care about corrupted? I feel like that's not even that good. Alright, so I definitely want these two. Right, so then what are the chase rogue exile items? I guess I just gotta look up a tree. I thought you're mainly trying to farm those jewels. Rogue exiles cannot have equipped unique armor. 100% chance to have equipped unique jewelry. Okay. Cannot have jewelry, increased chance for weapons. Okay, I see. I wish I knew which was the best. Oh, we have chatters. He did a typo of the first one. We all cart. So, okay, let's look something up here. I'm just gonna go onto my other monitor here. Rogue Exile PoE 2 Atlas Tree. What is it that you can get? What is it that they can drop? There's videos, but I just want something telling me what they drop. Astramentus is an amulet. But isn't Astramentus not that valuable anymore? So let's just do this for now. Here we go, PoE2 wiki. Weapons? It's not weapons. That's not what I want. Jewelry includes belts. Yeah, that's what I need to do. Reduced chance for armor, better chance for jewelry. And then for this, I have no idea. It's just a crapshoot. Because I'm getting reduced chance for armor. So, all I'm worried about is what weapons I'm gonna get. I don't know. Hey, what's up, Elijah? Elijah McBotterson. Hmm. 1 point left. Where do I put it? Yeah. It says in the stream title. Just 3% rarity? Or effective explicit modifiers. I need to just pick. We're gonna go. I feel like 3% effective explicit modifiers. Where was that? Is better. Alright, that's my new tree. New and improved for doing Abyss. Now, I haven't had any hits yet, but hey, let's keep going. I'll use all my fucking currency on this shit. Who cares at this point? I should check out the trade market as well, but let me pick up a map first while I'm in here. Just don't really want to do chilled ground or temporal chains. Yikes. I gotta get rid of these maps. Oh my god, do I need to roll maps first? Yep. Yep, I gotta roll maps first. That's okay. Rolling maps is actually a lot of fun in this game. It's just gonna take me a little bit longer to get to the killing monsters part than I was expecting. But this is good. Rolling maps is very, very important. So what I want to do first is transmutation and augmentation everything. So I'm going to, if you have a map tab and you hold down, or if you have a map tab and you right click on a currency, any map that you're able to actually use that currency on will have this this white glowing effect happen. And so then you can hold down shift and just use that currency on all of them, and it makes it so you don't have to make a regex or read anything. So now all my maps are at least magic with 2 mods, and so now what I need to do is look at the modifiers. If I like the modifiers, then I regal it to add a 3rd mod, and if I don't like it, I'm going to use an Orb of Alchemy to re-roll the item into a random rare item. So, let's go. So the main things I'm looking for with these waystones is what? I don't even know what the waystone strats are. The waystones don't really matter this league, do they? Because you don't need waystones for temple farming. But you do need waystones for the other strategies. So what are the other strategies? You have Abyss, Ritual, you have Abyss, Ritual, Breach, Expedition. So how do those work? So Abyss is kind of about getting a lot of Abysses and a lot of Rogue Exiles. I don't know what I'm fucking talking about here. I'm trying to think of what keywords to look for. Fuck it. I'm just gonna go through. I'm just gonna look at the rarity. That's the main thing that matters with these waystones is rarity, right? Okay. Big creators look at their chat too, Elijah. Alright, so basically I'm just looking for magic ones that have good rarity or good rare monsters. Or effectiveness. Rarity, rare monsters, effectiveness. That's what I need. So I think I can just go here and just go... No, how do I do that? I think I need to make a regex. So, I'm just gonna go PoE to regex. Alright, have a good day, Elijah Mills hyphen M9G3U. Totally a real person. Have a good one. So this is our website that we want. It wasn't working before for me, but now it is. So whoop-de freaking do for me. Oh, I should have this on multi-stream. And so where I want to go is Waystones. Can't I search based on the rarity? So effectiveness is only on tablets? Alright, effectiveness is only on tablets. You know what I can do is just fucking price check these bad boys. Usually, even if it's not worth selling at this stage, it'll at least be worth a little bit more than comparable waystones. And that means that there's something that you could roll onto it that would be good. So magic, rarity, garbage. So we are going to alch this. I want to put all the ones I'm gonna alch, I want to leave in here. Actually, no, I'm gonna put the ones I want to alch into my stash. All right. Chilled ground. Rarity 20, pack size 9. Yeah. You know what? Chilled ground is just bad, so I will be alching the chilled ground ones. Now here we've got rare monsters. Monster life. Wait. Rare monsters and rarity. Okay, there we go. So that's a regal, so I'm going to keep that in here. Rare monsters, rarity, regal. Pack size, rarity. Pack size and rarity. I'm spending way too long on this stage. I could probably just alch every single one. That's what actually what I'm going to do. Fuck this. I'm just going to alch every single one. Okay, there we go. And then, you know what? What else? We're gonna exalt every single one.
Have an order?
How low are exalts now? Bro, what is this economy? Exalts are 300 for a divine, and divines are inflated out the ass. Alright, fuck it.
I'll fill that in as soon as I can.
When you need exalts, you need exalts. You gotta do what you gotta do. Here, I should take a stack of these, or two. Alright, so now everything's max rolled. Now the fun part starts. In fact, I'm going to take these ones and put them in with everything else as well. Oh, yeah. I probably should have just kept farming ritual, to be honest. But I was getting bored of that. You know, going into those windows every time, it's annoying as shit. Alright, so we've got 9 omens to start off with. And of course, these are going to be pricey.
Have an order?
Oh, these actually aren't too bad. These are not bad. I feel like I probably go for this. Those rarity maps sell. How much are the other ones? $13. So a little bit more than half. 10, a little bit less than half. Yeah, but I feel like the rarity ones are the most consistent. But I'll use the other omens that I already have lying around. So I have 9 total. So what was it, like around 30 maps? So I need 21 of these. But it's about 10, it's about, yeah, 13 per divine. So, 138,000? Oh no, fuck off with that. How much gold do I even have? 55k? Oh wait, no.
All right, your order is registered.
All right, I'll spend 2 div on these. Like 13.95 to 14. Like, this should sell relatively quickly. I'm just gonna sit here and wait. Let's go. Come on, baby. How is everybody going for, like, exalts and shit? Like, what the fuck? You need to spend gold on that. You need to spend gold to convert your currencies. You know what I'm saying? Gold is a constant struggle, man. I'm always tapped out on gold. I wish I just had, like, infinite gold. If I had infinite gold, I'd be able to make so much more money. Because then I could literally just be a hideout warrior all day. Oh, finally, okay. So, what I want to do now, I'm going to put these other ones separate. I go to my maps here, my T15s. And I'm going to click on chaotic rarity. Right click on it. One sec. I'm going to click on chaotic rarity. And then I'm going to click on my chaos orb. And now these are all already with 6 mods. And so I'm going to look at them. And 99% of them I'm going to want to just re-roll. Now we have that 120. So I'm going to put that over here so that I don't actually roll it again. And I'm just going to go down the line. Looking for the worst maps first. So these ones that are like all over the place. A little bit of rare monsters. A little bit of magic monsters. A little bit of rarity. That's not good. You want it to be all one thing. Or all some 2 things that work together. Like rarity and rare monsters. So we are re-rolling that. And 115 is kind of low, but still. We're putting it over here. Because there's still one more step in here and anything can happen in the last step. So this has magic monsters and pack size. I think that's actually good for ritual. So this might actually sell here. Well, we're going to hold on to that. We're going to put it over here. Yeah. Rare and magic monsters is usually a bad combo, so we are going to roll that one. Put that over here. Rarity, rare monsters, pack size. That could be good. Let's see. I mean, it's somewhat okay. Here, let's save that one until the end here. Rarity, rare monsters, magic monsters. That is a re-roll if I've ever seen one. And we got 121. Very nice. Rarity, rare monsters, magic monsters, pack size. That's a re-roll if I've ever seen one. Okay. Rarity, rare magic monsters, pack size. So actually, that's a big pack size. That's a big magic monsters, I mean. And magic monsters goes with pack size. So yeah, okay. So this one, we're going to try to sell that for a divine. Or I just keep it with my ritual setup. Okay, because that's a good ritual map. I might actually just want to run that once I switch back to ritual if I decide to do that. This is so much easier with a regex, but I'm not good enough to know what to put into a regex. So I'm just doing it fucking manually. Area contains so rarity, rare monsters, pack size. This is a reroll. Yeah, anyway, the main thing you want to do here is corrupt them all, because you want to get T16s to sell. Or to run, fuck it. I find it's only profitable if you farm the maps yourselves. If you gotta buy those maps from scratch, it doesn't work out, because you gotta buy those omens. Those rarity omens. Alright, so I gotta vol everything. How many vols do I have? Not a lot. Well, let's see if that's enough. And so it's about a 10% chance, I think, to hit a T16 map. Oh, we got one. Oh, yeah, I see what happened. Hey, another. Hey, 3, okay. 14. 14. 16. All right, nice. 14. 16. Heyo, we're doing really good here. All right, we got 5 T16s out of that. Very nice. And yeah, last time I tried this, I got 0, so that felt really bad, but this made up for it. So now these maps are worth stuff. Like 127 T16. Let's see what that sells
Shipment sent.
And I just sold an item for 75 divine that I crafted. Fuck yes. Fuck yes, 75. Oh my god. So let's see what this T16, yeah, 2 div, all right, nice. So that immediately makes this whole endeavor profitable just from that one map alone. So I'm probably gonna sell that. $149 vol. Yeah, but how many divine is it to buy a vol?
Hail.
Alright, so this is a little bit less than a div, it looks like. Why is it showing it in vols? Okay, there we go. Alright, so that's a 1 div map. This one's gonna be pretty low. Yeah, less than a div. I do feel like selling these is pretty good. I'll definitely try to sell these 2 for 2 divs each. And I think I should probably buy something that's not going to depreciate as much as divines. Some kind of crafting material. Like I might want to buy Omens of Light. Those aren't going anywhere. But that'll be after I figure out what I'm doing with these T16s. I might as well run these. I mean, they're each worth 1 div. But I do want to see how my build does against high level abyss monsters as well. So let's try it. That was a great fucking crafting run. All these corrupted T15s, I can run these as well. I don't need to sell them. I can just run these. So that's gonna be really good. I'm definitely at the point where I'm like easily sustaining maps. I just need to not be afraid of running T15s. But I'm gonna sell the big winners for maps. And then run everything else. And that's how you roll maps. It's a little bit of a process, but it's a labor of love. Oh, I never corrupted these two. All right. Okay.
Hail.
Now.
Can I help?
$75 div. And that is officially the most divines I've ever had. I've ever had in PoE. I've got to go on PoE Ninja really quick here. Greater Chaos Orb has gone up. It might be at a peak. Fracturing Orbs. Damn, actually, these ritual things are worth like 20 div. Maybe I should have just stuck it to doing ritual. Omen of Whittling is 12 div. Omen of Whittling was fucking 4 div when I sold like 3 of them. a week ago. Dude, these omens are crazy expensive. Okay, what about Abyss? I'll tell you what, I'm gonna actually buy Omen of Light with my divs right now. And just hold on to those. Because I don't know what I want to spend my currency on. I'm going to split it between Omen of Lights and Fracturing Orbs, I think. What's 4 times 12? 48. So what? Call it 50.
Let's see if there are any takers.
Fracturing Orb isn't going anywhere, I'm pretty sure.
All right, your order is registered.
Alright, so I just invested. So hopefully those keep going up and I don't get fucked again. With more people running the temple, they should go up, right? The problem is everybody's going to be running the temple eventually, and then the temple's going to crash, right? I need to just keep an eye on it. Omen of Light and Fracturing Orb are not going to crash in value, I don't think. Alright, let's do a powerful map, boss. Is this the chilled ground one? Nope. Let's run it. Alright. We've got our Abyss set up here. Oh, do I want to do a double level? So it goes 80 and then goes level 81? Or do I want to just run another Abyss tablet? I got another inhabited by an additional rogue exile. I should use that instead. And actually, this tablet sells big time, right? This map itself sells for 8 divine. Or this tablet. Like, do I even want to use this tablet when I'm still kind of working out my strat? This tablet is insane. I think if I can sell it for 8 div, I should probably do that. Just gonna get one more Abyss tab. I should have something decent. Alright, just buy a Rogue Exile. A Rogue Exile tab that's just not as insane as this one. That's what I do. Here, wait. All I need to do is go tablet. Oh my god, tablet. Rogue Exile. Maps are inhabited by number additional Rogue Exile. Expedition with 30 rarity. So wait, let's do Abyss. So I'll just buy this for 2 div. And I'll sell this for 8 div. And screw it, I'll try, actually, let me actually look at the ones that I'm competing against here. So I have 11 effectiveness, 1 rogue exile, 1 abyss, and abyss pits and map are twice as likely to have rewards. I mean, I might as well try. I don't know, maybe this is a good mod, this twice as likely. Let me see something. What if I just go twice as likely with Rogue Exile? That's 3 div. If I get rid of twice as likely, 3 div. Okay. %11 effectiveness. Yeah, it's a nothing mod. It's a nothing mod. Okay. So I'm gonna try 10. I'm gonna try to sell it for 10.
What's new? Seems like a good deal.
Okay. It's level 81 anyway. Oh, man. Okay, fuck it. Let's go. So if I did put an irradiated in there, then you can get it up to 82. Very interesting.
Face me.
Yeah, okay. These guys are hitting pretty tough for a white mob. I think I'm probably gonna die. All ruins. Okay, fuck these guys.
Leech creature.
Ooh, I can do some damage too.
Return! Submit!
So that was an abyss. Rogue exile. I think this is more fun than ritual.
I can't yet. Brittle.
Ooh, those were some tanky boys. But I still killed him.
Spoils of war.
The flames hunger.
One problem is I don't have any rarity on this character. Like, almost none.
Scorching cinder.
But, like, I need fucking every single little mod. I'm stretched thin. Oh shit, someone was... Oh no.
I'm not ready.
All right.
You shall fall. Enough. No challenge.
All right.
No mana.
I might try to farm temple.
Need mana.
I might try to build a temple. Now that I've proven to myself that yes, my build is pretty strong. And this is a level 81 juice map.
Steel yourself.
Well, I guess we gotta see how I do against the powerful map boss, right? Alright, divine.
A rarity. And all mine. No challenge.
Gotta change up my filter. We got a dark domain. Do I want to do the crow first? The crow doesn't really matter, does it? And it's not like I need to beat this map for progression. Yeah, it's so much less efficient. I should be just opening maps, running straight to the Vol Temple and just farming the charges for it. But that's so boring.
No warrior. I'm not ready. You won't get away from me. Rage all you want, beast.
You may have noticed I only used basic attack during that fight. Because my build is that strong. Okay. That was cool.
Enough!
Level 20 skill gem.
Face me! Weakling! Out of mana. Weakling!
Alright, we've got an Abyss. Rogue.
Don't get away with this.
Shade Walker. Perfect essence of haste. That's worth. I'm not gonna corrupt this. Here, let's lay down fissures first. And build up our whatever it's called.
No mana.
Okay. Not the most... Well, I was going to say not the most rewarding, but I did get a divine, a perfect, a level 20 skill gem, and a perfect essence of haste, so... Can't really complain. If only I had rarity.
Feel my wrath! Meat creature!
Alright, another abyss.
We meet again. Follow that wisp. That's the one. Put it down. Chance to recover. Come on now. Ah, you're a natural at this.
I'm gonna save the boss until I'm done with the abysses.
I've no more room.
More abyss. It's not over yet, boys.
Did that hurt? Good. Rip, tear, break.
Oh my god, Ranger.
Enough! Join us. Brittle! Need mana!
Oh, there he is. Holy shit. Yes! Heart of Dwell. Oh my god, yes, it worked. Okay, I like this strat. I'm in it. I'm in it to win it. Fuck ritual. Oh my god, and there's another abyss still.
Monstrous fiend!
So much more fun than Ritual. Ritual's easier though. The monsters are easier. Which is probably a big reason why I was doing this
You
before.
were no worry.
But now my build is actually able to hang in these high level abysses. Level 81, 6 mod. Oh! I didn't have to die there. Can't complain. I got a lot of currency that round. But I shouldn't have died. Did I have the increased difficulty thing going?
Yes. Quickly.
So main thing I want is gold, so I'm gonna sell these random things.
A useful trade.
Except for the tippy top shit.
I will make use of this.
1.9 div, nice, okay.
Gold is useless to me. Take it. Gold is useless to me. Take it.
Baroque's smelting. Just hold on to that.
As expected. A useful trade. A useful trade.
Okay. So now
Go.
we can just in fact, okay, pretty bad first first roll there, but we'll see. Should I be using Omen of Abyssal Echoes on these? Probably damage, but not great. Terrible. This is probably the worst fucking jewel I've ever seen in my life. Alright, at least I got that. So it sells for like at least a div or something. Alright, 2 div. Does this change anything? Oh. Okay. My guess is recoup doesn't help. Alright, so I'll try 4 div. Yeah, probably worth it to roll. Because even if you don't hit a jackpot and you kind of lose, like, you're not always going to end up with nothing. You might still get like 2-3 divs out of it. And like I just got 4. It looks like I can sell that for 4.
What's new? Seems like a good deal.
So 1.8 divine, 500 chaos, or 500 exalt, 73 chaos. How much is chaos? Looks like divine is the best ratio there, but I only have 1. Think maybe I could get it for 2 div. Actually, do I need to use this on anything? No.
All right, your order is registered.
We'll go for that. These aren't very good. I'll try to get it for what, 24 chaos? Just underbid that 25 guy.
I'll post it right away.
Now I'm like obsessed with looking at currencies because I invested all my divs. I need another map here. Or another waystone, I mean. Why don't I start building out this way? I've got a tower right here. Okay, so back to these abyss maps. Now there's only 1 left for 2 div. I'm gonna need to snag that. real quick. And since this is not a powerful map, I'm just going to use a regular old T15. It'll be a walk in the park. And then we're going to Grand Ritual the next one. And we're probably going to run a lower tier map, something that I have no chance of dying in.
Enough! Like waves upon the shore, you will break against my shield. No challenge. He shall return. Fear will burst you. No mana. No mana.
Oh! Holy! Jesus Christ.
Good timing. The spirit is near.
Meet creature.
Sounds like there might be a rogue exile around here.
After it.
Enough!
Stay on it.
Alright, let's chase the Esmiris.
Hail!
Feel my wrath!
Get stronger.
Not sure where the Esmiri went.
Don't lose focus. up now.
No
We're
challenge.
wearing it down. Don't let up.
Out of mana.
We're wearing it down. Don't let up. Finish it. We're wearing it down. Don't let up.
Enough! No mana. No mana. No mana. Come here!
the smith I'm after, which'll do.
Halt! Your rampage ends here! You will fall before us! You are nothing but a locust! Achilles back! Achilles back! I will halt! Your rampage ends here!
Not an easy boss in the bear form. I should have just pressed... Oh no, X doesn't do anything for that.
What is it? These are our supplies. A good priority. Of course.
These are a div? Bro, these were like 15, 20 exalt before. Oh, no, no, no. Exalted Orb 58. Chaos Orb 9. Ooh, Chaos Orb seems better. I don't think it's 5 Exalt to 1 Chaos at this point. It's like 3 or 4. Man, I would just buy a bunch of these, but actually I'm just gonna buy one more for now because I have another one coming up soon. Well, I'm gonna do it 2 towers in a row, pretty much, at least. So this is a powerful map boss, but we're just running a white T15 with no mods on it. Just Grand Ritual. Because, yeah, I do not want to die here.
Enough!
no point in farming anything on this map. There's no juice in this map. Just trying to get to the boss and kill it.
Retro!
Do the exact same thing. I have a white T15 in my stash.
Deluded zealot! Come here! Brittle!
What the? Where is it?
Come here! No challenge!
Oh my god, just finish this fucking map.
Shipment sent.
Okay. So we've got a citadel. We've got a lot of empowered bosses over here. So this looks like a good area to farm here. And then we've got another tower over here for whenever we're done farming this zone. And that's what we're going to do. I'm going to get some water first. I'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. but it's okay. You can go.
Just a little bit, okay? So, by the way, how long do you have?
I can
Can you
go
tell me?
for however long you want.
Okay,
I mean,
all right. I'll try to.
eventually at some point I'll get tired, I'm sure.
I
but
don't. I
I'm
don't.
happy to
Okay.
chat.
I don't want to. I don't want to keep you up too much. Okay. Because listen, I've got so many questions on my mind. I consider you to be the superior intellectual force in politics. Okay.
I appreciate it. That's very nice.
Yeah, and you know, I think a lot of these older boomer liberal content creators like Hutch, okay, they look up to you, okay, because
I don't think so. I think if Hutch is looking up to me, he's got his eyes pointed in the wrong direction.
no,
I think he's much bigger. He's much bigger than I am.
no, I value your opinions more than Hutch's.
Okay.
Okay. I just want to make that clear. Right. So, another thing is, I'm sure you agree that we have to appeal to the moderates in some degree. However, it seems as though in order to appeal to the moderates, you have to argue that, oh, well, what if the left needs to be complacent, the left needs to be more complacent in their messaging, and they need to like denounce the violence, they need to do this and that, blah 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 blah, in order to gain the possible support of moderates. In my personal opinion, that is the wrong move to have, because moderates at this point, if you're still a moderate after more than 10 years of Trump, I think that you have not been paying attention. In addition to not paying attention, I think that you have an ego, you're an asshole, I don't like you, we're never gonna be friends, and I hope you rope, okay? In the video game,
here's
okay?
the thing about moderates.
So what is your opinion? Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Here's the thing about like moderates.
Yeah.
Is people imagine moderate is almost like the wrong term to use for undecided voters, because they aren't usually actually moderate. There's I wish I could remember off the top of my head.
But that's part of the problem, right? Yeah.
They have a lot of times what's more accurate to say about undecided voters is they're sort of ideologically incoherent. They don't pay much attention to politics. They don't think about politics all that much. They call themselves moderate because it's sort of received wisdom in American life that being moderate is like a good thing to be. You know, like people say
because you look like the person that looks at both sides and you can see the pluses of both sides, and you're able to differentiate and you're able to feel superior. You get to talk to people. You get to go like, I'm actually a moderate. See, I see both sides for what they are.
Exactly.
But the thing is that you have Dunning-Kruger, okay? You are the definition of Dunning-Kruger. This is literally the definition of Dunning-Kruger, right? Because of your lack of knowledge, you're unable to take a stance, and you think that your opinion is superior to everybody else who knows more, right? So this is Dunning-Kruger, literally,
politics
right?
Isn't all that important, or they just don't think politics is all that important. You know, they're not interested. That it stresses them out, so they don't consume much information about politics. I know a lot of people like that. You know, there's all sorts of reasons that people are undecided voters, and almost none of them have to do with being the kind of moderate that people think about in like elite discourse.
Yeah, they're moderately retarded.
I know precious few people. I know precious few people who, you know, actually are, you know, they've looked at both sides and they have come to have some sort of moderate synthesis on the issues. I know precious few people that are like that. Most people who think about politics a lot can pretty easily be sorted into a basically liberal or basically conservative camp. That's just a fact of American politics.
Exactly. Yeah.
Undecided voters, for the most part, are ideologically incoherent, and the problem with thinking of them as one group is by appealing to one part of ideological voters, of undecided voters, you might be making another part of them mad, because these two groups of undecided voters don't necessarily agree. And so I guess to bring it back to your original question of what we do about these people, that sounds vaguely threatening. I don't mean it like that.
No, you should. No, you should. You should. Okay, fuck these guys. Okay.
And you win them over with strong narrative. I think that's how you win them over. You win them over with strong narrative.
I actually kind of agree with that. Actually, I was gonna say the correct answer is your goal should never be to try to win them over. you should try to make it more of a side benefit if you could do it, right? But your goal should always be to turn out your base in order to go and vote, because there are people who are already on your side and they don't need any convincing in order to vote for your side, right? So why would you waste valuable time trying to convince the moderate to change their vote from Trump to Kamala Harris or whatever, when you can just turn out more of your own base, right? But you know what? Your answer is also very acceptable, okay? I think that they are susceptible to strong narratives because
That
they're
was a little
dumbasses,
spicy.
all right? So
Well,
I
I
agree
mean,
with that.
people, you know, I don't even, you know, it's
Yeah.
hard for me to be like, you know, they're stupid because it's so. I mean,
Oh,
look,
come on.
I just don't.
Come on, let's be real here. They're stupid, right? Let's be real here. Come on.
I think undecided voters in 2026, almost 2026,
Mm-hmm.
have their priorities woefully misaligned. I'll say it. I mean,
They're stupid. Yeah.
it's really bad, and
Woefully
I
misaligned.
would
You
never-
realize that sounds worse than stupid, right? Like woefully misaligned. If I went up to my mom and I was like, "Mom, I think you're woefully misaligned," I think she would
I think
bitch slap me
stupid-
across the
I think
face.
Stupid,
Yeah.
I think stupid doesn't capture the problem, and if it sounds worse, then so be it. That's what I think. But I don't
Yeah.
think stupid really captures the problem. I think they're not stupid in the sense that they are unintelligent. They're not less
Yeah.
intelligent than
Okay.
like a hardcore MAGA voter. I don't think. I mean, I would say that kind of person is probably dumber, frankly. I think that their priorities. They don't think politics. They don't think about
You know,
politics.
I think moderates are worse than MAGA sometimes. That's what
Why?
I think, because they've given us hope, as in like they've said, you know what, argue with me enough and you're able to change my mind. Guess what? We tried that. We tried over 10 years. We tried to appeal to them, and we barely squeezed out a Biden win. And even now, they are still contesting the validity of that election. And
True.
I think that no matter, you can argue that Biden winning is still Biden winning, and I would agree with that, but that's a loss. The reason why that's a loss and why I can argue it's a Pyrrhic victory is because, well, we all expected him to win in the landslide after what happened, but he barely squeezed out victory, and now we can see 4 years later, Donald Trump has won, right? And I think this is the ultimate flaw of this complacency when it comes to going with old tactics to appeal to the moderates, is that you're ultimately setting yourself up to bring an ex-girlfriend back when you know that she's gone, right? I think at some point
Well,
you need to accept that you need to move on. Yeah.
I think we need to accept that the kind of person that's an undecided voter is not necessarily like a Matthew Iglesias moderate. You know what I mean? Like they just don't. It's just not the same kind of person. And you know, this is why we have. I mean, the typical. Whenever I imagine like an undecided voter, I really am imagining someone who just does not think about politics much. Like truly does not think about politics.
No, I understand. That's my parents. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, and that's. I wish that they did, right? Because I think it's very important. I think the politics is very important.
Yeah.
But I think the way that you get them is you get a narrative that draws them in. I mean, say what you will about Trump. He was a cult. I mean, is to some extent was.
Well, you're talking about populism.
He's a
You're talking about
cultural-
populist messaging. That's what you're talking about.
Sort of. I think Trump was like a cultural phenomenon, right? And Obama was a cultural phenomenon. I mean, it can be populist messaging. I think. What does that mean to you? Populist messaging? Because I think that means.
It means picking out the stupidest fucking sounding. You know how a bimbo is hot but she's dumb?
So this is populism.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So I think populism. If by populism we mean being stupid, you know,
Okay,
lying.
all right. I'm obviously exaggerating. Okay, obviously, but I mean, like, what do you want me to say? Yeah, populism is this thing where
Well, what would you
generally
call-
it is
would you call it?
anti-establishment, anti-rich people, eat the rich, like pro-poor people, blah blah. Like, what do you want me to say? Oh, pro blah blah blah. Yeah, of course, I know what populism means. Okay, I don't need to define
Would
populism. Yes.
you call what Gavin Newsom does populism?
Yes, I would argue
Yes.
that his messaging is definitely, because if he is copying, if Trump is populist and he's trying to copy the way that Trump is messaging, then I would say that his messaging is indeed populist. Yes, I agree with that.
And do you agree? Like,
Yeah.
And do you like or dislike that? What Gavin?
I
Newsom
love that. I love that because it
love
fits
it.
Gavin Newsom specifically. Not all politicians have to do it, and nor am I saying that all politicians have to do it. However,
agree.
it works specifically for him the best. Yeah.
I sort of made a video about this too, or I talked about this in a different video. I can't remember which one now, but
You make videos?
You remember?
I'm kidding. Yeah, go ahead.
You remember whenever? Well, it's sort of still going, but there was a big trend for a while of politicians like performatively cursing.
Yeah.
You know, they'd be like, "Oh, I'm just so mad at these Sam Republicans," or something, and it'd be like an 80-year-old man who's clearly uncomfortable cursing, but he's been told that he needs to because this is the way to seem. But it just seems fake, you know. I would never encourage anyone to do anything that seems fake. There's a good essay that George Orwell wrote about like rules for. I think it's called.
I read that. It's called 1984. I'm kidding, joking.
Oh yeah. It's called Politics in the English Language, and he gives a whole bunch of rules for writing, like for good writing, in that essay. And at the end, he says, "Please break any of these rules before saying anything utterly barbarous." You know, and I think that's a good rule to follow. You know, you want to seem real, but don't try so hard to seem real that you're actually seeming fake.
Okay, all right. Can I just be honest here? Bro, do you see how we are like liberals talking about, okay, how do we sound the most human? Motherfucker, are we robots or are we human beings, right? Like, can we just like just loosen up a little bit and stop being so rigid in the way that we're talking? Like, we're going like the intellectual periphery of like the actual whatever the fuck. Why just say these people are dumb as fuck? Okay, moderns are dumb as fuck. Fuck them, all right? Turn on our base, and that's it. All right, the most powerful people are black pastors. Why are they so powerful? It's because they don't go like, blah 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 blah. Okay, they're like, okay, you know what I mean? It's just, I hate this like hedging. I hate this like, oh my god, I wouldn't say stupid is the what. Not saying you specifically, but I'm saying like, we need to be. Dude, if the Republicans can call us a bunch of like pedos and rapists and shit like that, why can't we just do that too? We can go like, these people are murderers, rapists, Hitler, fascists. Okay. Also, guess what? You get to
stream last night, and are you familiar with my own?
Oh, okay.
My own.
Okay.
I was streaming, I should say, and I was talking about P.F. Jung. Are you familiar with P.F. Jung? He's had conversations with Destiny before too, I think.
Do not mention his name ever again, please.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well,
I'm kidding, joking. Yeah. Go ahead.
He was talking to Destiny about Nick Fuentes. And
I don't know who Destiny is.
Okay. Yeah. I was watching the sort of a debate, sort of a conversation, and P.F. Jung was saying like, well, do you think it's really a good strategy to call Nick Fuentes a Nazi? And I'm just part of what I was saying.
Motherfucker, you call a spade, okay? All right.
I mean,
I'm sorry. You see a hoe ass bitch over there in the corner. You're gonna call her a hoe ass bitch, okay? She's over there fucking slapping her ass, twerking on the floor, and she's like fucking ramming her butt into someone who is clearly not her boyfriend, okay? You're gonna call her a hoe ass bitch. You don't just say that weird, disgruntled African American woman is trying to do something that is societally not acceptable. No, you wouldn't say that. You sound even more condescending. You sound even worse. You sound even more racist when you say something like that, okay? You just call her a hoe ass bitch and move forward, and you're invited to the cookout, okay? Just please, for the love of God, yeah, it's called Nick Fuentes a hoe ass Nazi, okay? And they just
had a lot of
We've had a
lot of commentary. We've had a lot of commentary on black people in this
because
conversation.
they be spitting, okay? All right, they be spitting, and I resonate with them in not in the skin color kind of way, okay?
Okay.
I understand, because when they call someone a hoe ass bitch, I'm like, damn, bro, yeah, we can all think of them as a hoe ass bitch. They get the messaging across so easy and clear. But all these white liberals are all like, and by the way, again, okay, I'm not saying, oh my god, I'm a fucking whatever, right? And all these white liberals are like, let's all sound like aristocrats and take lessons on how to sound more human. Motherfucker! Just do it. You talk this way at home when you start spanking your kid. You don't go, son, I'm about to apply physical force to your arse now. Then you go, kid, I'm gonna whoop your ass so bad, I'm gonna send you to the afterlife, okay? Okay. Sorry.
I think I mean
there we go. Okay.
As far as it goes, I think Democrats should I mean, the general principle of what I think you're trying to say about Democrats needing to be more real and just themselves, I agree with. You know, but I'm never gonna be that kind of person. It's just not gonna be. It's not gonna be my thing. And so I can say, Gavin Newsom.
Middle upper class. You're middle upper class. Is that right? Middle upper class.
Am I
middle
upper class?
Middle
I
upper
wouldn't call
class.
myself upper
Middle
class.
upper class. Middle to upper class.
Middle upper class. I don't know. I mean, maybe. I don't know. What would that indicate about me?
I came from middle upper class, and both my parents were 6-digit income earners and comp sci master's degree type shit. Okay. And I think the way that I feel like I've been socialized is like putting me inside an iron lung. Okay, after I have been diagnosed with smallpox, and I feel like I'm being constricted. Okay, only after I've been free of them, I'm able to burst out. Okay, and unleash my inner black man. Okay, all right. I need to unleash my inner Tyrone. Okay, you don't understand. All right, okay, but you can't talk like my parents. My parents cannot appeal to shit. Okay, you listen. All right. Okay, please. Okay, people loved Obama for a reason. Okay, the thing is that okay.
Obama wasn't exactly known for.
I understand. Okay, he's the master rhetorician, and he made sure that he doesn't came off as an angry black person, and he made sure that he came off as very measured and calm and temperate. I understand. I know exactly what you're gonna say. However, Obama. Okay, the point is that yes, that worked for Obama during that time, because during that political period. During that political period, we still had the old rules of politics in play. Okay, we still had the old rules of politics in play, but now the rules have changed, the game has changed, and I think that a politician like Obama will no longer succeed in our modern day climate, and we can see that with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I wouldn't say that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were like Obama, but I mean,
What?
maybe they
No.
were.
How are they
maybe
not?
were in
What do you mean?
terms of-
Sorry, go ahead.
I mean,
I think they were.
Just listen to him talk. I mean, I don't know.
You're talking.
No-
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Fine. But I'm talking about
Well, this whole
the
conversation's
old
about
classy way.
presentation.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Is it not? This whole conversation.
Yes. Yeah. But I'm
I
telling
think
you,
it's
they were.
arguable that Obama presents better than either Biden or Kamala.
I feel like there's some bias here, just simply because Obama was the only Obama to have ever Obama'd. You know what I mean? Like, and then everybody else who tries to replicate the success of Obama comes off as kind of fake. But they were still trying to do the same thing. Like, for example, Joe
That's
Biden
true. I mean,
was
it's-
writing.
it's-
Yeah, like for example, Joe Biden was writing off of being vice president for Obama, right? Joe Biden is also that's where his name recognition comes from, and he tried to bring down the temperature of the country when he was when he was a president, right? And he tried to also do the temperate thing or something, but obviously he was older, so he can't really do it as well anymore. For Kamala Harris, when she was campaigning in her 107 days, she was the way that she was speaking, she was like trying to bring hope back to the American people, right? It was like the way that they were trying to the mood that they were trying to go for is this like very Obama hope kind of vibe. And I think that the way that she spoke also was more reminiscent of like with her own flair, of course, right? Not exactly like Obama, but it was close enough, right? It was like, oh yeah, we're gonna bring hope back. We're not gonna go back, guys. We're not gonna go back, right? It's hope, the future, building the future. So I think that you cannot be Obama, but it feels as though we have been so starstruck by Obama's success that we fail to recognize that Obama's success only hinged upon the political environment at that time. And as the political environment has changed, Obama's methods have gone out of the success pool in that sense. That's what I think. But yeah.
Maybe so. I mean, in any case, I mean, you're right. It's impossible to replicate another politician exactly. I mean, it's one of the reasons why everyone who tries, in 2020, there were so many people who tried to like out Trump, or sorry, in the 2024 primary Republican cycle, there were so many people who tried to kind of like out Trump, but it doesn't work.
But it doesn't work.
They can't,
exactly. No.
Yeah, they can't do the same thing. And so, but I wouldn't say that Biden and Kamala were like Obama in that way. I don't think Biden came off as the same kind of guy as Obama at all. Obviously, he has a connection to Obama because he was his vice president. But I think Biden, I don't know, maybe
like a
this is
good
just
deal.
my impression, but I never got the impression from Biden that he was like the same kind of guy as Obama. I mean, he came off as like, America's grandpa.
Yeah.
Whereas Obama didn't.
I understand what you're talking about. I really do. But Obama is an inspiration to all future politicians forever. I think this will always be true. And
Sure.
they. Of course, Biden is still Biden and Obama is still Obama, but I'm just saying there's always some degree of influence from Obama present throughout the Democratic politicians. And
sure
when they try
someone
to
will want
use
that.
that energy in order to get themselves to win, the problem is that the game has changed. So the technology has progressed so far. Like it's kind of like using new guns in the Civil War, right? The reason why it was one of the bloodiest wars, it is the bloodiest war in American history, is because, and by the way, more deaths than World War II, is simply just because the tactics that they used was the same as the Revolutionary War, even though the guns that they used are like way deadlier, way faster, way more crazy at the time, right? And so you don't change the tactics when you get the new guns, but you thought that because you won the Revolutionary War, you think that the tactics still work when they don't anymore, right? You have to get with the times. You have to learn how to enhance your tactics instead of, that's basically the best way I can kind of describe it. You know what I mean? You get
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
agree with you. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't disagree. I mean,
Debate
I
one.
don't.
Boom.
I'm
Yeah,
never.
go ahead. Yeah.
I'm never gonna be the kind of person that's doing the incredibly bombastic routine. That's just not the kind of person that I am.
Not
and I
everyone is
think it would
required to
come
do
off-
that. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
That's fine.
and it would come off fake if I did. And
Yeah,
so
that's okay. You can be the soft white boy.
okay, yeah.
Yeah. and then other minorities can clap you on the back and go, "You're a kid," and then you go like, and then yeah, you can be that stereotype. Okay.
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 Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good.
Okay.
think,
I would. Yeah.
oh
Go
yeah.
ahead.
What's up?
No. What were you gonna say?
Oh no, I don't even know. What was the
I
next
don't
question?
even know. Huh? Sorry. What did you say?
Can I
What were
have-
you about to say?
Oh, I was gonna move on to the next topic.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Please.
So please. No, I'm kidding. I'm teasing you. Okay. Okay. There are some crazy ones. What do you think about tit for tat tactics? So I'm sure you're aware of Destiny talking about tit for tat. He's been showing up on Fox
No,
News primetime.
I don't.
Oh,
I'm
really?
not aware of Destiny.
Oh, you're
talking
not aware
about
of Destiny showing up on Fox News primetime?
Did he?
Yes.
Oh no, I'm
So
not aware of this.
after-
I really don't watch like stream.
Oh wait, no,
content
it's good.
at
I'll tell you.
all.
I'll tell you. Don't worry. I'll tell you. That wasn't stream content. That's like cable news.
Oh.
But anyway, the point is this. Okay. So because you mentioned Destiny, so therefore I'm gonna assume that you're.
Oh yeah.
but
No.
it was a
fair
reasonable
enough.
assumption.
I'm aware.
I thought. Yeah,
I'm aware
anyway.
of him.
Yeah,
I
okay.
don't really
Alright.
keep up with content very much.
Okay, he's evil. Okay, so don't associate with him.
Okay.
Anyway, joking. I'm joking.
Posted
Okay,
right
joking.
away.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, when conservatives were demanding liberals to denounce the violence on Charlie Kirk, and from the left, right? Destiny was the one that stepped forward and said, "No, I don't think we should denounce it until the Republicans have denounced it first. Until the Republicans have demanded that Trump denounce it first, because he has the loudest voice, he can lower the temperature the most. I don't think the liberals should ever denounce it." And I think because of his edgy statements, right after Charlie Kirk's shooting, he ended up on Fox News primetime, and he ended up as a huge controversial, like from the conservative side of things, when he ended up on Piers Morgan as well. What are your thoughts on tit for tat
I mean,
as a tactic?
I think that just comes off as really bitter. You know, that doesn't come off as very like strong. I mean, I feel like I can imagine the reaction to that from probably his fans were, you know, like, oh, based. Like, I feel like that just comes off as like bitter to me though. Like, I mean, I think it's horrible that it's horrible that that he was assassinated. I don't think that that was a good thing. And I think, you know, as long as we're talking about, you know, saying
By bitter, do you mean that is that a bad thing?
was what a bad thing?
Is
That he was
bitter like what
assassinated?
no, not the assassination part, the bitter part, right? Like is bitter like I'm sure that we would
I
all
don't
agree
think
that it is bitter. Like we would all say it's bitter, but like what is the actual? Do you think it's good or bad? Like
I don't think
to say that.
talking like that. Well, if we can zoom out a little, I think sometimes tit for tat is fine and in fact good. Like for instance, Gavin Newsom redistricting in California in response to what Texas did. I thought that was an excellent move and one that should be replicated across. I mean, we should really learn from that example, I think, as a kind of tit for tat thing. But what you said, I'm not really sure that comes off as like tit for tat, frankly. I think that just comes off as kind of bitter. You know, sorry, I know this is a Destiny fan.
Yeah, there is no. I understand.
But
there is a negative connotation there for sure. And listen,
just doesn't-
okay, like
it
I'm
doesn't
not
come off as,
offended.
like,
Okay, don't
strong.
worry. Okay,
It doesn't come
yeah.
off as like strong to me. It comes off as just kind of like kind of bitter.
Okay, my personal
Personally,
view.
in that instance.
Yeah, my personal view is that it seems as though there is a double standards present in this country, and I personally call it a double standards poisoning, because like a poison, you don't notice it until it's too late, and it kind of has symptoms here and there, but if you don't administer the antidote, you will die, right? So the double standards poisoning is in which like for example, if the Democrats even did a single
Can I clarify
Oh,
something?
oh,
Did
yeah.
he say that it was
Go
good?
ahead.
Did he say that it was good that Charlie Kirk was shot, or did he?
No,
say,
no, not at all. He totally denounced the killer, but it's just that he said that if a Republican asks you to denounce the left because of the violence, right, or whatever, then you should refuse to do that and ask the Republican.
The left.
Y-
It
well-
wasn't the left. The left didn't kill.
Oh, condemn the
Charlie.
no, or rather, it's not about the left either. It's about condemning the violence in general, condemning violence in general as well. So including that.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess what do you lose by just? I think I'm just
Perpetrating. So
confused, like,
Yo, guys, welcome
my
to-
argument at the very least, I'm not sure if this is Steven's argument. My argument is that you would be perpetrating the poisoning in this country, because what is essentially happening, and now follow me here. I know this is kind of hard to. This is a hard position to argue for. I will say that. Okay, it's not an easy position to argue for. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you think it worked? Do you think it was like a good move whenever after Rob Reiner was murdered?
Who's that?
The director.
No, I'm not a politics
he directed
person.
He directed a bunch of famous movies, but Trump, right after he was murdered, just like a week ago, Trump was like,
Oh,
I hear
that
what
guy.
killed
Okay.
him- I heard that what killed him was his Trump derangement syndrome. Like, do you think that like helped Trump, or do you think that was a bad move for Trump?
I think it does help Trump, because
I don't think so.
I think-
I think that was a horrible move for Trump. I don't think that helped at all. I think you saw even on the right wing, you know, people on
that's
Twitter.
fair.
people
That's
were like,
that's hold on. That's fair. However, Trump has been doing that since forever, right? That wasn't the only move that he has done, right? And for the record, I think that Trump has been doing this kind of thing for 10 years now at this point, right? But let's just say that specific instance wasn't too good for Trump, okay? Fine, I can concede to that, right? However, I think that this is a step in a long list of steps that he has taken in order to perpetrate this double standards poisoning, right? Like for example, for Charlottesville, he said, well, there's a lot of radical people on the left and the right, right? He does this kind of equivalency thing, and then you can draw a straight line from Charlottesville and what he said to the Proud Boys all the way to January 6th, right? Because
do you think that him saying the Charlottesville thing was good for him? That was like a horrible scandal for him.
I think it did perfectly for him, perfectly.
Way, like
Because look, from Donald Trump's
that was
point of
like
view,
one
right?
of the worst scandals of his first
Sure.
term. That was really
Okay. Fine. But I think that by saying that, sure, he took like short-term losses, right, in terms of like press and stuff like that, like criticizing him. But long-term, like, what did he get out of it, right? January 6th.
What did he get out of it?
January 6th was successful. It did actually delay the count, right? And then now everybody has moved on from January 6th. It's now considered something of the past, and nobody wants to talk about it anymore. By all means, that is successful. He manages to try to rig the entire thing for himself, and everybody just simply moved on with their lives. Like, this is, to me, like, I don't know what like if that's not a victory, I don't know what isn't a victory. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
I'm not so sure I connect Trump.
He got elected again. Okay, somebody said in chat,
Yeah.
but that's a perfect one. He got elected again, right? This isn't just like, sorry, this isn't just like, oh, there's this little thing happening, and then
I think
therefore
January 6th is why he got elected again. I think I'm just having
again,
trouble connecting
right.
causality.
But you have to look at the greater context, right? You can't just look at a single event and you go, okay, wait, this is the one event, this is the smoking gun, okay? You look at the greater context. I love that word, greater context. But you look at the greater context and you're like, wait a second. There's this double standards poisoning that is going on in this country. Okay, I'm sure you can agree with that. Like, for example, if Joe Biden even did 1% of what Trump has done, right? The Republicans would just not, like the way that they treat Trump is just completely different. They treat him like a child, like he's a child, like stumbling over and killing people, and they're able to move on from that, right? But for Biden, he has to like tiptoe all the time, and he's like apparently mentally delusional. Oh wait, his son that isn't even in politics is being like condemned by the Republicans in an insane witch hunt. These are not the same standards, especially when you look at like Trump electing his own family members to be ambassadors to other countries. That's fucking nuts. Anyway, the point is that, you know, after Trump coin and all that shit, right? There is this double standards poisoning, but it didn't start there. It didn't start with Hunter Biden. It didn't start with Trump coin. It began with the subtle and slow poisoning of this into the American psyche. And I think that it began slowly, but we continue to rise to ride the wave of a previous way of doing politics that I will say worked for its time. That worked for its time, the Obama era, right? But I think that eventually down the line, I think what happened is that we didn't realize how poisoned we were until it's too late. And then now Trump got elected twice, and
I just
he's still.
don't think that the reason that Trump got elected twice is because.
But he shouldn't have gotten elected twice after January 6th. I think that's something we can both agree on, right? He shouldn't have gotten elected after January 6th, but yet that still happened. Why did that happen?
So,
Why did that happen, right? Like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
What is the point of? So earlier you said.
Oh yeah, sorry. We probably went a little bit off track.
We just need to say things how they are, right? We need to say say what we believe. That's
and that is also part of that. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So if someone asks you, you know, is political violence bad? I think the
answer is yes.
Saying like the answer is I'm
you
confused
say yes?
with the argument. I'm confused with the argument is then.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm doing a bad job of phrasing it, but let me think about it. Okay.
I feel like if a Republican asked me what I thought about political violence, I would say that political violence is bad. I don't like political violence.
Right, but what is the reason why they wanted you to say that? What's the implication there? What's the implication of why they want you to say that?
What do you think they get out of me saying that political violence is bad?
Everything. Because it's okay, if I was sitting at a police interrogation, okay, and then and then they were asking me questions about who did the murder, right? And then I said, and they're like, do you think that this was bad? Like, do you think like anyway? Oh fuck, that's maybe not okay. Sorry, that's not. Ignore that one. Ignore that example. Okay, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of. I'm trying to think. No, I understand. Listen, I also think it's bad. Okay, all right, hold on. I'm not okay. Hopefully you'll understand. I'm not trying to encourage political violence here. Okay, I'm not trying to make an argument.
For sure. I'm just curious how you square the position of saying what you think.
To me it sounds like a confession. To me it sounds like a confession because when in the greater context of after the Charlie Kirk shooting, if a Republican asks you to condemn the violence, even if they put it in a neutral way, the implication there is that your side is the side that have done the violence, that have caused the rising in rhetoric that eventually led up to Charlie Kirk's death. The implication there is unspoken, but the question itself, if it was asked in good faith, I'm sure you can agree to that. But the implication there, the true meaning behind the question that is asked to you, is not the actual phrasing of what they have asked of you. Does that make sense? Because what they're saying is, they're actually saying is, do you condemn the fact that lefties are the ones that caused the death of Charlie Kirk, which we would all agree that is not the case, right?
You should definitely not accept that. I
Yeah,
mean, if that's in
right,
the greater context.
But
in the
to
greater
them,
context of
they want to. The reason why they want to extract that out of you is because that sounds like an admission of guilt. Does that make sense? In the greater context of things, immediately after the Charlie Kirk aftermath.
I mean, I just don't really think that it sounds that bad, frankly. I don't think it sounds that bad. If all we're saying here is someone said after the Charlie Kirk shooting, do you condemn political violence? I don't think you lose anything by saying, yeah, political violence is bad. I really don't. I really don't.
I agree. No. Hold on. It isn't that political violence is bad, because I think that we can concede to, oh yeah, political violence is bad. But I think we can argue that, oh,
It's just true.
no. Again, I agree. Okay.
Yeah.
But that's not the question they're asking. The question they're asking is, do you condemn the violence that happened? Do you condemn the violence that happened? Right? It is an unfair expectation of you to condemn that when their side has done none of that. Right? It's an unfair playing field.
I think it's fair to bring that up too. I mean, I think it's fair to bring that up. I think you should say, I think it would be fair to say, talk about all the right wing. I think like a day before or a day after the Charlie Kirk shooting, someone, there was another one of these like neo-Nazi type school shooters.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know. There was another type of, I don't even, they happen so often, I don't even know.
Jesus.
Oh no, you're talking about those state senators. This was not at the same time. But right after the Charlie Kirk shooting, or right before, I can't even remember now.
Mm-hmm.
There was another one of these like neo-Nazi type school shootings,
mm-hmm.
and like nobody talked about it, and like I think it probably would be fair to say like, yeah, I condemn violence. Do you condemn this other thing that just happened? Like I think that would be fine. But I don't think that you lose anything by saying, yeah, political violence is bad. I think I understand. Let's just go down the path.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
If you choose to say like, no, I'm not going to condemn political violence, because then you inevitably look like what you're saying. And I'm sure, again, I'm sure what people said is that this made Destiny look like he was endorsing political violence. Is that what happened?
Sure. Yeah. And people were like, oh my God, don't you see he's actually endorsing? Yeah. That's basically what the other side was saying. Yeah.
And I'm not so sure, setting aside whether or not we should just say what's true, which is that political violence is bad. At least that's what I think. Even from a practical political perspective, I'm not so sure that was a good move. If it just made everyone think that he endorses political violence, I'm not so sure that was a good move. Whereas, maybe I don't even know if it is an L. I mean, but it seems like you and maybe probably others perceive it as taking an L to like say, oh, I condemn political violence in the aftermath of that. But I don't even see that as an L. But like presumably you and others see it as an L. Sometimes you do just got to take an L. You in a rhetorical context, in a debate, you got to just take it and move on. You got to move on to the next thing. And that doesn't mean that you have to accept the framing of saying the left was responsible for Charlie Kirk's murder, because the left wasn't responsible for the left was not responsible for Charlie Kirk's murder. And then I think you can also say that the right has been horrifically violent over the Trump era. And we could run through the many examples. I mean, obviously January 6th is probably the most extreme version of trying to overturn an election with violence. And these days you can't even Republicans that want to be that want to be in the Trump administration can't even say that to Congress. I mean, I'm sure you've seen those videos of like Trump nominees being asked by senators or whoever, like, who won the 2020 election, and they can never say Joe Biden. They can never say it.
Sure. Okay.
And so I think it's fair to bring all this up in the same context as well. But I just don't really see it as that big a deal to say like, yeah, political violence is bad.
All right.
In that context.
Yeah. I think that okay, my goal today isn't somebody said, wait, this is turning into a rhetorical discussion. It's been a rhetorical discussion this entire time, dude. Anyway. Right, yeah, because it was all about presentation since the very beginning, right? So I don't want to convince you today, okay? I don't want to convince you today. All right. But I'll just do one last thing. Okay. Do you remember what Nancy Mace said about the Charlie Kirk thing? No. I think that she said that, oh yeah, that was horrific, that was bad, and whatever, right? And then another reporter said, do you condemn the violence done to the state senators, the Hortmans, right? And the gunman that killed them, right? And then she said, I can't believe you would ask that question. What is wrong with you? Right? So
Yeah, that's obviously
so
bad faith
she
and
so
not
she wants
surprising.
so she
I think
wants
she
the
comes off
left.
worse for saying that. I don't think she comes off like strong or based or anything for saying that. I think that's a
And
I think
yet
that's a very
Nancy Mace,
reasonable
and yet
thing.
Nancy Mace is still a politician, a sitting politician, right?
Well, she
She's
hasn't been
still
up
a
for
sitting
election since
politician.
then.
Yes, but I'm saying, how did we end up in this scenario where a sitting politician wants the left to condemn Charlie Kirk, wants the left to condemn Charlie Kirk's shooting, but she herself wouldn't want the right to condemn the Hortman shooting, right? Like, how did we get here? And
That's really bad. Yeah, no, and I think that
no,
should be
I
called out.
agree. I agree. That's really bad. But that is just one example of a very long, long list of examples of this double standard poisoning that is happening. Because in the very beginning, sorry,
I feel
one
like
last-
I feel like what underlies a lot of what you're saying here is that you
Yeah.
imagine, or at least I don't really understand what you're getting at, if not this, I should say, because you agree that
I think that this,
you
I
agree
think
that
that
political violence is
okay,
bad,
sure, I can
right?
understand. Yeah, the standard basically does, because we can't go down this route of like double standards anymore. If it is the
Like-
case that, sure, let me just explain. But
Okay.
I think that if we cannot rectify this double standards poisoning that is going on, I think that either Democrats have to be treated as the same standards as Republicans today, either by raising Republicans to that standard, which we know is impossible, or we lower Democrats to the same standard as the Republicans, or we're fucked. That is my thing, okay? I think that Democrats should forget about all of these rules of norms and whatever. Politics is about power. Politics is about winning, okay? If this is what allowed the Republicans to win this entire time, get elections, win and stuff like that, then therefore we should not, and Democrats have been trying to be the better people for the last 10 years. Maybe we should no longer try to be the better people. Maybe it's just simply better to also be on the same rhetoric, and we can see it working pragmatically. Gavin Newsom also doing edgy rhetoric, right? Not going way too far, sure, I agree with that, but doing the same edgy rhetoric. Other Democratic politicians also doing the same.
I'm sorry.
You need to be able. You
this is
can't
a
hold
category
yourself to different standards as the opposing side, or you're fucked, right? Because
I agree that Democrats
you're-
don't need to.
it's like
so. This is a category difference.
Yes.
First of all.
Yeah. Okay. go
If
ahead.
we're talking about political violence, right, and then we're talking about political violence, and then we're talking about Gavin Newsom, imitating Trump tweets,
Mhm.
right? I don't think these are the same thing, personally.
Disagree.
And I think what underlie, and this is sort of what I was trying to get at earlier. Do you imagine that it would
Mhm.
help Democrats like win elections if, like, after the Charlie Kirk shooting, Democrats were like, they all took the strategy that you're saying
Yes.
Destiny took?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I think that would be horrible. Why I can't see why that. If we look at what do you think that Trump's response to, do you think January 6th was like good for Trump's popularity?
Not immediately, but it's not about his popularity, right? It's whether or not he is still in power, right? It's not about because we can take a look at Trump's dropping popularity this entire time. We can take a look at that, and he's still dropping on popularity. But where is he now? He's still the president of the United States. He got elected after January 6th. How did that happen?
The failure after January 6th was for the Biden administration to not put him in jail, and the failure was with Congress for refusing to impeach him, and after the fact, because they came up. I don't know if Mitch McConnell came up with all these convoluted reasonings why they couldn't pass it in the Senate for procedural reasons or something. So that was the failing after January 6th. I just fundamentally don't think that these instances of Trump being like endorsing political violence help him. I think that you're grouping in two things that are not the same, which is being like provocative on social media.
Oh, sorry. I want to clarify.
Almost three things.
I want to clarify real quick.
We're talking
I
about
want to
being
clarify real
provocative
quick.
on social media
I
generally.
think-
We're talking
hold on,
about
I wanna-
endorsing political violence, and then we're
Sure,
talking about a broader
okay,
tit
yeah,
for tat
sure.
strategy.
I want to clarify. I want to clarify real quick, okay?
And I agree
think
with
that
these two, but not that
I think for now, social media, like social wise, like commentator wise, I think commentators should push for this unified messaging of we should do tit for tat, okay? But Democratic politicians, sure, I kind of agree with you. I kind of agree with you on that.
What do you
like
mean
maybe
by
they shouldn't
tit
be
for tat?
tit for tat, as in like
Yeah.
if if we're not operating on the same standards, then we should do whatever we could to operate on the same standards.
Okay, so I think
Yeah.
I think the genesis of our disagreement here is that you think that when Republicans do things like refuse to condemn the Hortman's killing, that this helps them.
I think
Do you think
that
this helps them?
I think it helps on a macro scale.
I just don't think so. I think they do other
Okay.
things that outweigh the damage that they're doing to themselves with this stuff. I think that they're doing other things that outweigh the damage that they do whenever they are doing horrible stuff like that.
I think the benefit isn't obvious. I think that the benefit is
Well, if we can't see it in
underlying,
the polls,
right?
if we can't see it in the polls,
Mhm.
and we can't see it in like the preponderance of the reactions to it after the fact,
But we do
and
see it, right?
where?
Like the fact that we have the double standards right now, and you agree with me that we do have the double standards right now,
we have a
shows
double standard.
that
but I-
they've been doing this thing the entire time, and it's been working, right? It's been happening this entire time.
I think the difference is that I think that they've been succeeding in spite of the fact that they have some horrible takes about political violence, and you think that they're succeeding because of it.
That
I
is
think
one
that they're
reason, yes.
succeeding I think that they're succeeding in spite of this. I don't think that Trump saying what he did after Charlottesville helped him. I think that was bad for Trump, and he would have been more successful in implementing his agenda had he not said that. I think
Okay.
I think that was one of the worst scandals of his first term. I think had he not done January 6th, frankly, he would have had an easier time getting elected in 2024. I think that he succeeds in spite of these things, not because of them. I think there was a very real chance that after January 6th, that Trump straight up goes to jail, you know, and it's on the Democrats, frankly, for not making sure that happened, because he definitely deserved to. He definitely deserved to just go to jail after that. And I criticized the Democrats vociferously for not doing that. And I criticized the Republicans in the Senate for refusing to do their constitutional duty and impeach him after January 6th when they had the opportunity.
What do you blame the Democrats on again?
In the Biden administration for not putting Trump in jail. He deserved to after January 6th. He tried to coup the government, you know?
I think
Deserved to go to jail for that.
I agree with that. It's just everything else. Let's just say I disagree. Okay, let's just simply put it there. I disagree. Because I think that this is more of an extended debate, right? Like this is like not something that can be fit into this discussion, right? I'd be totally willing to talk about this in the future, like this kind of double standards thing. Okay, hold on, wait. Somebody said impeach him with the Republican-led majority. What's your response to that? Republican-led majority. How do you?
Yeah, no, I sort of just said that, you know, I criticized the Republicans for not doing their constitutional duty and impeaching him. Yeah, and I criticized the Democrats after they were in power for not prosecuting him. You know, you don't need Congress to prosecute somebody.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's okay. All right.
That's a thing that this is the thing that Merrick Garland is often criticized for, right? Biden appointed Merrick Garland to be AG and then kind of slow walked the investigation.
Sure. I mean,
slow walked all the investigations.
Look. I would need to look more into, like, again, with Merrick Garland, I'm like trying to find some source on it where I'm trying to figure out what the fuck is happening there, okay? But like I've been just confused. Nobody ever made like a single fucking video essay on him or anything, okay? And as you know, okay, I never read, okay? Fuck reading, okay. All right? But you know, I do consider you to be somebody who knows a lot more than I do. Okay, listen. Okay,
I should say, just to reply to that commentary, the Democrats' failure wasn't in failing to impeach him after January 6th. Obviously, that's right. That's the Republicans' fault and that's on them for refusing to do their constitutional duty. The Democrats, or I guess I should say specifically the Biden administration, deserves at least some criticism for not further pursuing Trump's prosecutions during the administration.
Yeah, sure. I mean, like,
so maybe I got my wires crossed there about.
No. I could probably say the same. Of Mueller. Did Mueller ever conclude whether or not Trump is actually a Russian agent or not, or a Russian asset, or completely compromised, other than the people around him?
If I remember right, the main thing that the investigation concluded is that Russia absolutely did fund like internet ops to help the Trump campaign.
Right.
I think that was the main thing. I
Well,
don't
more
think
than that, right?
But yeah, was that not the most important? Was that not the most important bit of that?
I thought it was also about like a bunch of the politicians around him that were actually just straight up like working with
Colluding with
Russia.
Russia?
Yeah, colluding with
Yeah,
Russia.
no, I mean, yeah, some people went to jail for that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know if it was, I mean, obviously Trump isn't in jail, so I guess it was never proven in a court of law that he knew about what was happening. Although
Right.
he did say, he literally did say, like, Vladimir Putin, you know, help me.
yeah.
And then the next day, you
I'm
know, all
also-
the emails come out.
Yeah, I'm also
I mean-
checking in with you because I think that Mueller ended his investigation early, from what I remember, because he was too afraid of what he might find. That he didn't want to cross into the threshold of questioning whether or not you should take action against the president of the United States while he's in sitting power. I think that was one of the reasons why that has happened. Do you remember that, or like I'm not sure
I have no
if
idea.
that was a fleeting memory of mine that I just simply was deluded on or something, you know?
I have no idea if he said that. I have no
Okay,
idea.
I
Maybe
see.
he did. I have no idea. I don't remember.
Okay, yeah. Okay. That double standards thing, okay? I'll get you on that one yet, okay? All right, not to get you or not get you,
Well, I
okay?
guess
All
I
right, we're
should
gonna
say,
throw
I
fisticuffs,
agree
okay?
that there's a
Later,
double
all
standard.
right?
I agree that there's a double standard. I just disagree. I disagree that you seem to think that some of these things are helping Republicans, and I think they're winning in spite of them. If that makes sense.
Sure. And I think that Republicans have greatly benefited from the perpetrating of this double standards to the point where they just straight up have absolute power right now. But
To some
you know,
extent
we can
they
agree
are.
to disagree. We can agree to disagree for now. We can agree to disagree for now. Okay, we can't. Okay, we can't go into this. We can't do this. Okay, I'm just stating where the disagreement is and then moving on. Okay, I'm not trying to argue for it anymore. Okay, I'm not trying to argue for it anymore. Okay, let's put that on the shelf. Let's put it on the shelf for the future. Okay, and we can actually have a
let me
real
say one more
discussion on
thing.
that in the future.
Let me say
Yes,
one more
go
thing,
ahead.
and then I will stop.
Yeah, go ahead.
To some extent, they are. Like, you gave some good examples that I absolutely agree with. Like the example of whenever Gavin Newsom started tweeting like Trump, and he was criticized, you know, by Fox News for being unprofessional or whatever, even though this is exactly what Trump does. That's an example of what you're saying, and I think it's a good one.
Sure.
Or whenever the Prop 50 stuff in California was happening, Democrats were. I think these are the types of things that I think that I agree with you on, and that Democrats should be pushing back on the double standard there. I just disagree about the political violence stuff. I don't think that helps Republicans. I think that they win in spite of it. So just now, that's the last thing I'll say.
Okay, I'm gonna say one more thing in response to that. Okay, since you put in a statement there. Okay, I think that part of that is I think they won because that is part of their entire strategy is to normalize the double standards that is taking place. The reason why we hold Democrats to a higher standard is not only is it in addition to the Obama era tactics of taking the high road on things, but it's also that they need to be able to say crazy shit that in which they would take hits in that moment, which we all agree with, but then still perpetrate the general vibes. I'm gonna say vibes because again, you can say it's vibes, but I would argue not all vibes are made the same. Okay, I would argue that the general environment perpetrate the general. Let's just say environment. Okay, perpetrate the general environment in which we end up here. Anyway, all right, stop. Now can we stop, please? Now can we stop?
For sure. I think I've
Okay. Yeah. Oh, one last question, okay? Before we end it. All right, ready?
one last question.
Do you think that conservatism as a whole, like let's just say, because I watched your video on intellectual conservatism, okay?
Yeah.
And I thought it was such an interesting video, mainly because I questioned that is bigotry always the ultimate endpoint of conservative movements? Is there any conservative movement that didn't end like in some kind of like bigoted or, you know, leaning towards bigotry, separatism, tribalism type shit?
I guess it depends on how thin you want to slice it. I don't think that there's any kind of that populist nationalist conservatism that can exist without bigotry. I don't think that there's any kind of, and that's sort of the thesis of the video, right? I think that kind of like populist nationalist conservatism can't exist without cranks and without bigots and without racists and without anti-Semites. I think that's where it gets a lot of its energy from, frankly. It's hard to say. I don't know about. Can we imagine a conservatism that exists without bigotry? Maybe. I don't know. I think definitely you can't. I mean, I personally know conservatives that are not bigoted, you know, but I don't think that you can have that kind. Most of them vote for Democrats now, but
Oh, nice.
I don't think you can have that kind of populist nationalist conservatism without the bigotry. I don't think that that's a thing that you can have. The kind of blood and soil nationalism.
Yeah.
It's always going to have some bigotry. I think that's integral to it. Yeah.
What is a form of conservatism that does not have bigotry baked eventually into it?
Well, are you talking about like ideologically, or are you talking about like how it manifests in real life?
How it manifests IRL. Like, why does it always go down to that route? And by the way, I'm asking this out of genuine curiosity. It isn't because I disagree.
There's an interesting essay called "Why I'm Not a Conservative," and it's by this. He's often thought of as a conservative economist, F.A. Hayek. He wrote this "Why I'm Not a Conservative" essay, and he's obviously more conservative than me, but I think he has some sort of interesting insights into the conservative mindset because he's much closer to it than probably he was. He's dead now, but he was much closer to it.
I was closer to God.
You or I, right? Presumably. So I guess I would just bracket that and say I would recommend reading that essay because I think it's really insightful. But then, because we're not reading, I would just say I think that there can be a conservative impulse of general resistance to change that is not necessarily motivated by bigotry. I mean, I don't think that that's a necessary component of that kind of conservatism. But I do think that the kind of conservatism that we have IRL in the United States right now is in fact, I mean, there's a lot of bigotry that's there. I mean, the most popular commentators on the American right wing right now, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Fuentes. I mean, these people are insane, and they're very bigoted, and they're anti-Semitic, and they're racist, and all these things. So I think IRL. I'm not sure that there can be a conservative movement in the United States right now that doesn't have any of that attached to it. I struggle to see how that would be possible right now. IRL.
Okay, I see.
If that makes sense.
No, that does make sense actually. Yeah, because I'm like thinking back. Is like, can you name? Because I'm like thinking to myself. I'm like, okay, like, can I name a single conservative movement that somehow didn't end up like a major conservative movement? I don't mean just like I don't just mean like what do you say? I don't mean just like, oh yeah, you just want to talk about conserving national parks or something, right? Like something as topic or as niche as something like that, right? I'm talking about like overall like this mass like for example the libertarian movement, kind of, right? I don't even know if you want to consider that to be conservative, but like again, right, like I'm trying to think of one. I'm like, okay, I can't really think of one that isn't like more baked in bigotry eventually.
I think the old three-legged stool of conservatism, only one of the legs was social conservatism. So I mean, presumably you had at least 2/3 of the coalition who that was not their primary motivating force, right? Of course, that doesn't really answer your question because it still included a lot of bigots in the tent, so to speak. So I don't know. I mean, certainly not in the last 100 years in the United States. I mean, that just has to do with the history. I mean, that just has to do with the history of how conservatism has developed in the United States. I mean, certainly the issues that conservatives have been interested in, I don't know about the last 100 years, but certainly since like the civil rights era, I mean, the issues that motivate conservatives have, the conservative tent has included bigots in it for a long time in the United States.
Right.
I mean, that's not, so I don't know. I mean, maybe someone could theoretically, go back and find something in the United States where the conservatives they've managed to fully exclude bigotry from the coalition, but nothing in recent American history comes to mind. I mean, I think that's always kind of been part of the conservative movement. And at some points, the people in charge have tried to, keep it more at bay, but it's always been there.
I see.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. There is listen, okay, you're so smart, okay? I actually do enjoy, like, no matter if it's agreeing or disagreeing with you, like, I'm just so happy to be talking to like an actually smart person for once, okay? Oh my god, thank god. All right.
I don't know about. You're very
Look,
nice.
dude,
Thank you.
shut up. Okay, all right. come on. I do appreciate you so much. Okay. For example, for taking the time to come on as well. Like, I really appreciate that. You can come on anytime,
It's
by
fun.
the way.
It's fun.
It is fun, right? Like this beautiful dance of agreeing
I
and
haven't
disagreeing at the
even
same
looked
time,
at
right?
the chat. I'm sure they've been. I'm sure
They love
I
you.
hope, I'm sure they all love me, right? I'm sure
Yeah,
everyone loves me over there. Yeah.
I react to your video. No, I react to your videos, and everybody agrees with you. Okay, because we're all liberals. We're all
Well,
liberals. Okay.
you'll have to excuse me on. Well, that's a good point, actually. I do think there's
Yeah.
too much infighting. I think there's way too much infighting on the American left generally. I mean, that's such
Yeah, I
a
agree.
banal point. I mean, everyone says that.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, there's things that I agree with. I'm not a socialist, for example. You know, I'm not a communist. But I don't spend my time talking about how much I hate. I don't know I don't spend my time talking about how much I hate, like, I don't know, like Hassan or something. I guess that's the first thing that comes to mind. Is like,
Well, I wonder why you brought up that example. Sorry, go ahead.
I don't know. He's just the first example that came to mind of like a prominent socialist commentator. But like, Hassan is like not in power. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I would criticize him. I mean, I think he said some really awful things. I've seen some clips of him that seem like he's said. I mean, like, I don't know. Again, I'm not.
Please
like
don't turn into a
I'm not
lefty.
big
Please don't
into-
turn into a lefty. Okay, I'm begging
I'm not
you.
big into the streaming stuff, but
Yeah.
I saw the clip where he said like America deserved 9/11 or something.
Mm-hmm.
That seems pretty bad. I mean, that seems like really heinous.
Yeah,
You know,
when I'm talking about tit for tat, I denounce Hassan, okay? When I'm talking about tit for tat, okay? Jesus. Yeah, that seems a little wild.
Yeah. Would you say that I'm cucking out to the conservatives by saying that he shouldn't have said that?
Yeah, exactly. You're cucking out so hard that what's his name? That John McCain rose out of the grave again, and then he's like, bro, your cucked energy made me come back to politics. Okay.
That's what you're saying.
All right.
This is the argument you were making earlier. So I don't know. But like I don't agree. I don't think that the labor theory of value makes a ton of sense. But I don't spend all my time talking about the labor theory of value. You know what I mean?
The
Maybe that
labor
would be
theory of value. Oh my God, please. Yeah.
But they're not the ones actually in power. Like the National Conservatives are the one in power right now.
I agree.
The
Yeah, I
Post-Liberals
think
are the one in power.
for example, Asmongold and Hassan is beefing, and I think that Asmongold is a greater threat than Hassan because Asmongold represents the side with more power, and he has a way larger audience and
What's
hits the
his deal?
algorithm more often. Huh? What?
What's his deal, Asmongold?
Oh, he's just a groiper now. That's it.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
he's just a
sucks,
groiper
yeah.
now. Yeah, he's
That's
just straight
really
up a groiper. Before he was not like this. Before he was
okay.
not like this, but we should have seen this coming a mile away. But now he is the biggest platform
Is he the one
for the
that
groipers. Yeah.
sleeps with like roaches or something?
Yes, that's right.
So it feels like maybe at some point we should say like,
What, that there's a double standards poisoning?
no, I'm just saying if someone's living a life, if someone's living a life like that. If someone's living a life like that, sometimes you gotta just say like,
Well, he's getting poisoned by the roaches and the rats and the dead rats in his room. Okay, the story is that he has a dead rat that he uses as an alarm clock because the corpse would emit a foul odor, and when the sun hits the dead rat when it's daytime, the odor would wake him up.
you're fucking with me.
I'm not
This
fucking
is
with
not
you.
real.
This is what he said.
That's
I'm not fucking with you.
Really?
I'm not fucking
Actually?
with. Yes, actually, fuck. I'm not fucking with you. Yes.
that's disgusting.
I know, but you should. But you know what's even more disgusting? You should Google search sonic inflation sometime. Okay. All right. You should Google search sonic inflation
not that-
sometime.
yeah.
You'll
I'm not
you'll
that
see.
clueless. Yeah. I'm not that clueless. There's a rule on the internet about this.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
No, but it's a really important economic. I'm kidding. Yeah. Oh my God. You know what? Talking with you is a lot of fun. Okay.
It's fun. It's fun. I'm trying to get more into the,
You
streaming,
didn't.
streaming
You,
ecosystem.
you don't regret this talk, do you? You like this talk?
No, it's fun. I was a little worried that you were racist whenever you started
Oh my
making all
God.
the comments about black people.
No,
I'm not
what?
gonna lie.
No,
Some of these,
if anything, I'm like praising them. No, if anything.
some of those comments I found a little distasteful.
No,
I'm not
of
gonna lie.
course I'm racist. Of course I'm racist. But you know, I mean, what's humans without a little bit of racism in our genes, right? I
Okay.
think, you know, whatever, man. I'm not
But
about to bring up
I
13 or
had a
50.
great,
You know what I mean?
I had a great
Yeah.
time. I had a great time chatting.
Yeah, of course. Look, all right. You're awesome. Okay, I love your videos. I will cover.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I'll cover more of your videos. Okay. Where I don't know. Was there a final question I wanted to ask? Let me think. Was it about
know.
conservatism? I think it was about conservatism or some shit. Do you think that? Oh, well, yes, I remember now. Do you think that conservatives can ever not be reactionary? Like they're always about either maintaining the status quo or going back in time. Like, do you think that they
No,
can
I
ever
think
be the
that's-
ones making progress ever?
No.
Or advocate for making progress?
No. I think what you just described is integral to what it means to be a conservative. So no.
See, that's one thing we can agree on.
Okay. That's true.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh man. Well, this was a lot of fun. Thank you so much. I'm trying to get. Thank you so much for having me on. I've been wanting to get more into the sort of streaming world.
Yes.
But it's a rough and tumble world out there. You know, one
It
of the
is.
reasons I think that streamers hate each other so much is because they're in direct competition with each other in a way that video essay people just aren't. You know, you
That's
can
right.
watch so many video essays, but you can only watch one stream at a time.
That's
You know,
correct. Yep.
you can feasibly keep up with a lot of YouTubers, and so you know, I have a lot of YouTuber friends, but I don't know
Yeah.
any streamers that are friends. They all end up
You-
hating each other.
You have no idea because every single time Steven, that's name right, every single time Destiny streams around this hour, I always like go end up yelling in his DMs. I'm like, stop fucking streaming right now, get off stream right now, I need to stream. And when I see lower viewer numbers, I want to sewer slide in Minecraft and Roblox. Okay, I'm like, you have to.
What do you usually average?
I usually average anywhere from, in total from Kick and YouTube, from 100 to 250. But that literally, that seriously depends on what I'm covering. If I'm covering politics, everyone's like, okay, we're gonna go watch someone else. But if I'm covering something that is considering Destiny drama, which is my main jurisdiction, okay, again, politics is not my jurisdiction, okay, it's, which makes you think like, oh my god, how does this kid know something about politics? Okay, listen to me, okay, but for drama, all right, you have no idea, okay? I know some shit like the back of my hand, all right? You have no idea. Like, I literally am an encyclopedia when it comes to drama in this space.
Okay.
So it's like, you just open me up, flip to a certain page, and you can find it. But yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
It's just
I believe you.
Yeah.
I believe you.
Yeah.
I believe you.
Oh my gosh. Oh, where can people find you?
I'm Ryan Geddy, RyanGeddie. That's me everywhere. My primary platform is YouTube. I don't really post on Twitter. I've been trying to get off short form social media, but you know, I occasionally post on Twitter and Blue Sky. But yeah, YouTube's the main place, frankly. That's
Awesome.
it. Ryan
Awesome.
Geddy. And there's a little picture of my face, side profile.
Yeah.
That's how you'll.
No, look, I love your backdrop. Your backdrop looks really nice.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I sort of, you know, I've sort of got a theme for each, you know, well, you know, this is sort of the fantastical corner. This is this used to be the French corner, but now it's the European corner because I added the bear from London. This is my University of Texas cubby because that's where I went to college.
Oh my god. Wait, how old are you? I'm curious. How old are you?
I'm 24.
Very nice. I'm 26.
I can't see your facial reactions. I haven't been able to see your camera actually this whole time.
Oh, thank
So-
God. Okay, don't worry. Okay, it's better if you don't see it. Okay.
Okay, but so I've got some, you know, just various stuff. You know, very fun. The background's fun.
That dude, you are the smartest 24-year-old I've ever met. What the fuck?
Don't know about that.
No.
Liberal. I don't
Maybe
know.
the second
I
smartest.
appreciate it. Maybe the second smartest.
Maybe the second smartest. Yeah. Okay, well, it's very nice chatting with. I gave you channel perms, by the way, so anytime you want to come in here and talk about something, feel free to hop in. Okay.
All right,
I love
thank you so much.
chatting about things, and listen, you're amazing content. Okay. Everybody
Okay.
loves you. All right. So you're always welcome here in my server as well. All right. Feel free to chat in there. Yeah, I really do appreciate that. Okay.
All right. Well, everyone, thank you so much for. I mean, thank you, chat, for putting up with me arguing with your person here. And
no, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate
Of course. All right. Farewell. Yes.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, that was awesome. That was actually awesome. That guy, dude, he is so bright. I don't get me wrong, okay? I disagree with him, okay? I do disagree with him majorly on some points, right? But I admire him, okay? Listen, I'm gonna be totally real with you. He's my boy, okay? You know how Pisco is always like, Hutch, he's my boy. He's my boy. That's me, okay? He's my boy, all right? He's my boy. But that was actually really fun.
What's going on, everybody, and Happy New Year. Welcome back to another episode of the Passive Tree Podcast, a podcast dedicated to talk about life, Path of Exile 2, and everything in between. Tonight on
have a fun time in that and feel very compelled to like try different builds. And there's just so many as well right now. Like, it feels like there's so much stuff I haven't played. I haven't even played a bow build yet. Crazy. Gotta play a bow build. Haven't really played a summoner until the current build that I'm working on. Still like tons of spellcaster stuff I haven't even touched on. And now I'm like, I was tuning into Noogie yesterday and he's playing like a bear spear build, and I'm like, oh, a bear spear build using like converting endurance charges to frenzy charges for spears. And I'm like, oh mate, I gotta do that. I gotta do that. There's lots of stuff I want to play. I'm like leveling a new character. I hadn't even finished leveling and I was already starting to be like, I haven't done a shield slam build yet. I want to do a shield slam build. I love shields. Maybe I'll start a shield. Should I do SSF? Maybe SSF HD? Is that crazy? I haven't even finished leveling my current character. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty engaged. Highly engaged at the moment overall. We'll get a lot more into the specifics and the many issues with the game, but I think like despite its many issues, I'm enjoying it quite a lot right now.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're saying. I've been talking about this on stream quite a bit. I'm doing the push to 100 right now, and so I've been locked into the character that I've been playing. I'm playing a grenade tactician in solo self-found hardcore.
Good choice.
It's very good. I'd actually never played grenades or pin before, and I didn't realize how insanely strong pin is. It's just like,
ridiculous. I'm surprised it didn't get nerfed.
Me too.
I played it last league and I thought for sure pin would get nerfed a bit, but apparently not. Well, you made it interesting. Okay, so it's a great build, really fun, very strong, ridiculous league style leveling as well. But you did make an interesting choice for push to 100 because that means you're playing for many hours, and grenades are very eye bleedy. So, did you consider that aspect when you chose your build for your push to 100? Eye melting aspect.
I think
what sort of grenades are you playing?
I'm playing explosive grenades just entirely at this point. So the build was using cluster for quite a while, and then so it was a mixture of mortar cannon with cluster and then explosive with oil grenade as well. But then I just threw in the extra explosive into the mortar cannon, and so it's all just explosive grenades at this point. I think my eyes have become slightly desensitized to it, if that makes any sense. I do have about 7 days played on the character now, so much over 100 hours. I think that over time my eyes have just kind of like gotten adjusted to it, but it is pretty rough, man. It is rough.
Losing sensitivity in your eyeballs is what's happening.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, the flash grenades and stuff like that. It used to be not that bad. Like they were pretty bright. You could kind of handle them, especially if I do recommend turning down your bloom, and there's a couple of settings you can tinker with that helps.
Yeah.
But that was like not too bad, but then they added like Nova projectiles and that other one that has like a chance of proccing 8 additional projectiles and all that stuff. And they really incentivized like projectile count above all else on grenades right now, and that is not good for this. This is something I was talking about on stream recently. Is Path of Exile 2 has a bit of an issue right now where like the artists making skill effects are just trying to make like the sickest looking skill effects possible, but they're like doing it without looking at any other things at the same time. Like they're just making the sickest possible thing in isolation, not caring about anything else, right? Just if you want to make the sickest looking thing, then that's a strategy. It's a good strategy. So like everything looks really cool. Like you do like a fissure and then make it pulse. Oh, it looks so sick. But they definitely don't consider what it looks like when you've got 100 of them on screen, or those plus 100 other things, or let alone this is just solo gameplay is unhinged. I had to turn down my like stream encoding and all my settings to nil for playing my druid because of fishes. Like as soon as you get fishes on the screen, it's like nah. It just drops down to nothing. You can't see anything. It's a blur. So bright as well. Like it looks so good. The fishes look so good. It's just so bright and covers so much.
I love how you I said that though. It's like they're making everything look so damn good, and I think in like a vacuum or in a bubble, they're doing an amazing job. Obviously, like one thing that stuck out to me so well when I got my hands on the game for the first time was just the ice shattering animation. Like every little individual piece of ice just like breaking apart or flying across the screen, and like that looks awesome even in mass. But Yeah, fissures. Oh my goodness, grenades. Oh my goodness, it's like, yeah. How do they fix this though? Because they've really doubled down on the whole like, you know, more is good for the build. Obviously, we want to do more damage. We want to have more visual effects on screen, but yeah.
Well, there is like apart from like technical graphical things they can do, like toning them down, or even having some sort of like dynamic culling style thing where the more of a say explosive grenade explosion there is, the like kind of subtler they get. But they've really demonstrated over the past 20 years that they don't really want to do that. So ever, they've never ever wanted to do anything even approaching any sort of like sliders or whatever for skill, transparencies, etc. So given that fact, I think is actually a pretty good gameplay incentive to tackle it from a different approach. So with grenades, for example, I think what they should really be doing is incentivizing you to potentially build in the opposite direction, build fewer projectiles, fewer more powerful projectiles. There needs to be like a nuke support where it's like it limits the amount of projectiles, or it converts extra projectiles into like AoE and damage or something like that, right? So like concentrated effect style of things that are the inverse of adding extra projectiles. Because right now the correct choice is always to add more projectiles, because you know it's shotguns. The explosions overlap. But yeah, you should really incentivize doing the other thing. Some sort of like duct tape support where you like tape all your grenades together and then, you know, lob it like they do in movies sometimes.
Yeah,
like
that would be cool. I'm trying to imagine my build right now and the exact opposite way that I would play it, where instead of like shooting as many grenades as possible, it would just be like one big boom and everything just dies, and I could get behind that. Honestly, I could definitely get behind that.
It can be very satisfying alternate playstyle, because I'm playing Cold Snap Jin now with the Naviras that detonates Chilled Ground, and it is screen-sized explosion, but the visibility is actually quite good on it, and it's extremely satisfying when it just goes and shatters everything on the screen. So that sort of like single explosion with the gap between it is both good for visibility and gameplay, I think.
Absolutely.
I mean, you gotta keep the mass projectiles approach as an option because it is fun. But yeah, just having more of the opposite, I think, would help.
Absolutely. I love that. Speaking of things in the opposite direction, let's talk about the temple really quickly. I think that right now, especially because today of all days, we've gone back and the GGG has done another hotfix, essentially reverting the change from the medallion, upgrading, you know, up to only the tier 3 rooms. So breaking it down as sort of for people who haven't basically been following this or who are not up to speed, the Val Temple has been obviously a really big point of contention in the community during this patch, with nerfs happening over the last couple of days. So initially, GGG had made some changes to the temple regarding diminishing returns, which I don't think many players had an issue with. I think the biggest issue that players had an issue with was the locking of only tier 3 rooms of the medallion, which basically made it a lot harder for players to build those giant snakes that were providing us with so much currency and rewards. So I just wanted to get your take on sort of how do you feel like they handled this? Do you think they handled this super well? And what do you think like the potential sort of like result of all these changes back and forth so quickly might have?
There's a lot at play here for the Val Temple, because overall I quite like the concept of the design. I did kind of help inspire it, I guess. I have a personal stake in that one, but also I actually just think there's a lot of fun potential there. I think it's a really good addition to the game. So like I really want to see like things like that are major side content like that, but also something that you can build up over time. So the snaking was cool in that regard, that it was something you could build up over time. That's something the game doesn't really have much of. Yeah, you unlock passives and stuff when you're Atlas, so you progress, but you don't build anything. And having the temple be something that you can build, you know, there's other strategies for it, like just rushing out Siri, for example, but something that you can build up and keep juicing as well, like push beyond normal limits to make harder and harder. It was a really cool addition to have. So the snaking strategy ended up being, for juicing, with making really long chains, ended up being stronger than expected. It was definitely expected behavior for them, because it pretty much had to work that way, with the way that the decay system works, where you can protect really long chains. But it ended up being like way more impactful than they expected after they kind of did their emergency buffs for the initial temple reception. Because it was like the first couple of days that everyone's like, well, they're like, temple's not very good. And certainly there was some whiplash going from the campaign to where it was quite rewarding to early end game where it just stops giving you anything. I actually think like without any patches, had we built temples, it probably still would have been very good, like compared to other content in the game, probably quite reasonable. But it was still important, even though it was perhaps a hasty overreaction to buff it as much as they did. As soon as they did, they kind of had to do that because it shows they're listening, and it's you also got to kind of err on the side of making things too rewarding just before you go away for Christmas. So they kind of had to overbuff it like they did. It was somewhat inevitable, I guess. The biggest issue that I see here is just that when they made these changes they made, that it left legacy temples intact. So people who had already built big temples were able to keep farming them for, even at a reduced rate, like I think it was like 1/5 or something of the value. So if they were getting 100 divines a run, which was actually happening, they were getting 20 divines a run instead, which is still ridiculously good.
Yeah.
Which meant that people who had already built them could keep going, and that feels really bad. It's a bad look. So a bit of a misplay on that one. I don't know if like something that they could have foreseen with the way they changed the medallions was that happening. But it might have just been kind of like, it was a pretty like, it's the weekend, Christmas break, New Year's break. We need to make a change. They kind of made the change, and yeah. So I don't know if they really kind of like foresaw exactly the legacy temple issue there. Maybe they assumed that those temples would start to decay over time, which is coincidentally one of my main issues with that design. So I don't like the way the snaking worked out in its original and now unnerfed mechanics. I think unnerfing the medallions was the right call for now as a band-aid until they make more elaborate changes down the line. But I have some kind of like reasons for that. So aside from the economic issues of producing ridiculous amounts of currency, which like is and isn't an issue, it was to the extent that it was definitely an issue. Anyway, economic stuff is a whole other conversation. But my issues with the snaking, building really long chains the way that worked, was that once it was set up, it was static. So there's just no more decision making, just endless grinding of the same thing. And then they were using limited rooms, like you're only using like a very small handful of the rooms available in the temple, which means the content was like very repetitive, especially with no changes occurring over time. And then it had like a long and painful setup process that people kind of like were clearly very frustrated trying to work through, which came to light even more after the fact that they made it even harder to do. You have to fish for certain rooms and things like that. You're not really engaging with the temple while setting it up. I think there's like a lot of design issues with the way that the snaking worked. So ideally, I want to see down the line, probably for next league. Well, I don't know. Maybe they'll do some more stuff within this league, but maybe they'll just leave it here for now. Long term, though, I really want to see what they do with a temple that's more dynamic and changes over time, so that you can build up and maintain it still, but it does like crumble and change and adapt, and is less about like building long chains of the same rooms and more about building like strategically building interesting clusters of rooms that have interactions. And like I put this barracks cluster over here with these rooms that upgrade it, and then that's going to affect my temple in some other way that makes sense when I do these other different kind of like sections over here. Like a bit more interesting kind of building up, I think, is a possibility there. So the less crumbling change that they made hopefully will work towards that at least, where like normal runs that don't kill Aziri or the Architect don't crumble as much now. So that should hopefully be a step towards that direction at least. Gives me some hope.
Definitely.
But honestly, the biggest thing I want from the temple though is actually has not been talked about at all in any of this, which is I really want temple modifiers and crafting. Like there was kind of this focus on crafting in the temple, but that kind of just like is a non-element now, I feel. So I want like unique temple modifiers that you can craft or that drop on rares in the temple. Like Path of Exile 1's temple mods, if you're unfamiliar, there are modifiers, a bit like Abyss modifiers, that are unique to temple, which can be interesting build enabling stuff that you want to do that content for. But also with this whole crafting focus, they could have done like some interesting harvest style meta crafting, like remove a fire mod, add a fire mod with a chance of it becoming a temple fire mod. Things like that could have been like really cool and would incentivize using all the different rooms too. Like these other rooms that you don't use in whatever core snaking strategy might have like really cool crafting stuff in them. So that could, I think, make things much more interesting. Hopefully that's like the long term for this sort of a temple.
Yeah,
no, I've rambled for a long time.
I love that idea. I love that idea. We were actually just talking about like mod specific content in my stream earlier today, and how like you know, that's a very fun part about Path of Exile 1 that incentivizes players to, yeah, just, you know, engage with content more. As an SSF player, I have enjoyed the temple for what it offers you in terms of like the ecosystem of things to do in Path of Exile 2 right now. Like, as a hardcore player, the body modifications was obviously something super important for my character. So getting all 4 of those things was like awesome to have, just as like extra defensive layers, extra attack speed and stuff like that. And then obviously the cultivation orbs as well, something very unique to the temple that allows you to kind of change those unique items. Yeah. Right now I'm working on an Amazon build, and getting the soul tether belt cultivated without and removing the 5% energy shield loss per second completely changes that unique to be an absolutely like basically best in slot belt for if you're going like an ice shot Amazon, for example, and you want like crazy energy shield leech without the repercussions of that. So really enjoying what they have available right now. But I definitely do think that in the future, especially in like 0.5, when they kind of refine things, maybe add some more rooms, maybe open up the possibilities for how these rooms connect. Because I feel like you're absolutely right. The way that people set up this temple right now is very much like there are these specific ways to go about doing it that work really well and really optimally, but there's not that much room for like creative freedom. It feels like right now we have these very specific pieces, and there's only so many ways that these rooms can attach. So it leaves us with like these kind of almost predetermined outcomes, if you will. Yeah.
Could be expanded upon. There's a lot to love here with the temple, though. Like, I think there's some really cool auxiliary items. Like you said, the changing of the Val uniques is really awesome. Having double corruption come back. These things are like fantastic additions. And actually, before all of this, I felt like just as a baseline, just kind of building the temple somewhat randomly and trying to put rooms together. And as I was progressing my Atlas the first time, it felt very rewarding. I was regularly getting like, you know, like 1 to 3 divines whenever I went in there every 6 maps. And that is, while progressing the Atlas, quite good. And that was before like any sort of juicing or anything was occurring on my temple, right? I was like, and before, that was even before the buffs. So I was like, man, this is like a pretty good baseline. This is because like you don't really make much currency while progressing your Atlas. That stuff comes into play once you kind of get some of the passive trees and tablets and things online. And now when you get your 4 mod tablets, so it's very like weighted towards the top end for farming Atlas stuff for the most part. But the temple felt like immediately quite rewarding after I guess not like slightly after that whiplash of, hey, it's not giving me crafts in every single room anymore like it did in the campaign. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, the buff certainly helped. But actually, so on the snaking thing, I think a better change for snaking is definitely going to be something more complex. Like for building large juiced temples, I don't think like having really long single line and protecting it that way, like they've re-enabled, is a long-term good way to have it for the reasons I was talking about before. I imagine something like more complex, like a dynamic stability system is needed, where you get something that the longer the chain gets from your start point, how many tiles it gets, the more like unstable it becomes, the more risky it becomes. That gives you like a push your luck style gaming thing, where you like, if there's some benefit to do that, you can push, but you know, then more and more potentially is going to decay as you do that. And then you have the option of building like clusters that aren't as far away or are a bit more stable, so like a bit of a variety of strategies there. And maybe people won't like this after they just reverted it, but I imagine the protection medallion probably needs to go or be changed to something that like maybe just increases stability, but right, so that it's only guaranteed for like less risky rooms, but not for like really risky ones. Like that has a chance of failing, maybe something like that, I imagine.
Don't take it away from us. We just got it back, man. We can't take
I'm just talking, I'm taking the long-term view of like my ideal temple mechanic. But yes, right now it was the correct choice to revert it like they did. So that the playing field is a bit more level.
Absolutely. Yeah, there was, you know, Fubgun had a great video kind of breaking down why, you know, the legacy temple enjoyers, the people who had already spent, you know, all the time going back and forth between Holton and their temple, and then after that, like, you know, continuing to work on it, are just going to succeed even further with their already existing legacy temple. So I think they had to. And to kind of build off of what you were saying before, the changes that they've made, I mean, there have been quite a few hotfixes in 0.4 already, despite it being like during the holiday season and whatnot. And like, I mean, you have to give kudos to GGG. Like, they are trying to listen to what the players are saying, as they always do, and trying to like adjust and make things better for the community and for the players based on feedback. Maybe they have misstepped a little bit and done some reactionary stuff that maybe wasn't fully thought out properly, but
they did like a hotfix like every single day to try and get this kind of right.
Yeah.
People, it was pretty hilarious, the kind of the severity of the reaction. I remember reading a comment and laughing at it because it was like, this is the literal worst thing they've ever done ever. And I'm like, whoa. It's like, no way is it the worst thing they've ever done. Like, yes, this was a misstep, changing it so that those legacy temples, but like, it'll probably be fixed in a few days. And also it only affects like it's not really like affecting things in quite the way to be that dramatic, I don't think. Like, I remember Arch Nemesis. If you didn't play, not even, how long ago was Arch Nemesis? I guess a few years ago now, but in Peri 1 they made this whole system to revamp rares and make them more engaging, and it made the entire game an absolute painful slog where every single fight with every single it was responsible for the birth of everything you hate. Things like mana donuts. Yeah, that came from Arch Nemesis. We still feel the impacts of the Arch Nemesis introduction. Like, oh man, how can you say it's even anywhere close to Arch Nemesis?
I have no idea what that is, but it sounds like it was terrible. It kind of feels like with the temple stuff, it was like, you know, at GGG, they obviously have lots of people, you know, full team of people working, you know, Q&A and, you know, testing these things and all that kind of stuff. And for lack of a better term, it's like they have their own rats for the maze that they put inside the maze to test it. But they didn't have the hundreds of thousands of rats that got into the maze and fully tested it the way that we all did when 0.4 came out, right? And so, you know, as much as they probably anticipated that there was going to be some significant juicing and things happening, you know, they can only anticipate so much until, you know, the hordes, the hundreds of thousands of rats end up in the maze. And you know, that's why it's our early access game, and so we can help figure it out and get it all polished up. And it's going to be a really just awesome piece of content to add to the end game loop. Like, it's great to have something to do other than maps as well, like to be in maps and then go in there and have something completely like focus. It's kind of the first thing that we have in PoE 2 right now that is, you know, a piece of content that's outside of maps. That's not like Trials of Ascension, basically. So it is cool, and I'm excited for it, man.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the future of it. Like, fundamentally, I quite enjoy the mechanic. I think it's a pretty nice addition. So a bit more work. It's closer to being awesome than some other things. Like, for example, Expedition right now is a long way to go.
Yes, I was actually locked out of Expedition for so long because I don't know if you've experienced this, but tablets are dropping like crazy from certain things that you're doing, like Abyss, for example. I have like multiple stash tabs full of Abyss tablets, but I could not do Expedition for the life of me for a very, very long time. Like, I got, you know, the initial first tablet where you get it from doing the content the first time. And then after that, it was like I was at the mercy of RNGesus, essentially. How was it for you?
It's slightly weird because it is it makes a lot of sense, the fact that tablets drop from the mechanic. But it also means that you do get like a weird snowbally effect where, like, oh yeah, you get some tablets early on and you just keep getting more tablets because like the tablets give you the content, which give you more tablets. So you're good. But then you like, you go blank on that first Expedition tablet, and it seems like it's more likely to happen with that one in particular. Then and maybe you don't kind of like happen to run into any native Expedition maps for just a little while in the direction you pick. That can happen randomly, and then you just don't get any Expedition tablets, so you don't get to progress Expedition for a long time. I've had also very little Expedition. I did like prioritize a bit early, which kept it around, but it's I just haven't been seeing it on my maps normally, so that's just pure chance, I think. But it's a little weird that way. That's the kind of the reverse of this, like, otherwise pretty logical decision to make it drop from the actual content.
Definitely. And I think like having it dropped from specifically like, you know, monsters within the league mechanic is great. It just feels a little bit like some knobs need to be turned into the direction of Expedition, because there are specific league mechanics in PoE 2 that provide you with a lot more monsters to kill. Like if you're doing Breach, for example, if you're doing Expedition, or sorry, if you're doing Abyss, you're going to be like killing a lot more monsters while doing that content just overall. And so I feel like because with Expedition, especially early on when you don't have your like Atlas point investment in like, you know, markers and density and all that kind of stuff, like you're not actually killing that many monsters, and it kind of just results in that like lack of tablet. This is very much like an SSF player's problem, but yeah, so I think like it would be great if they could just like maybe readjust it so that the drop rates are a little bit higher in content where you fight fewer monsters. Or I don't know how you feel about this, but just like, you know, the way that unique tablets drop in the game, you can basically drop a unique tablet for any piece of League content from any monster in the end game. Why doesn't that work for just like content precursor tablets as well? Not like a really high drop rate, but just like to help sort of like subsidize maybe if you're going on a bad luck streak with some content. Oh, like, you know, I just killed a map boss and it dropped me like an Expedition tablet. That's great. I don't think there's any reason that, or towers too. Like towers could give not just precursors, but League content as well.
There's a lot they could do with towers. Towers could help you locate, you know, certain League contents, for example. I think like there's a lot to do with exploration and that. Yeah, I like the idea of them even just randomly dropping sometimes from bosses. That's often the solution with this sort of thing, is like, so action RPGs that do the class, what do you call it, smart loot? Typically it's called something like smart loot, where when loot drops, it's for your class. That is, usually those systems have like a small chance of dropping things for different classes too, as part of that. Because when it happens, then you're like, oh, it inspires you to play a different build. The same thing I think needs to be true for something like tablets, because you're doing, you know, other content, and then occasionally you kill a map boss and you get something for a different piece of content you haven't done yet, and maybe you're like, oh, maybe I'll try that. Just as that kind of like little occasional little, oh yeah, here's a thing you can do. Here's something to inspire you to do something different. It's good design in general to do that sort of thing.
I love that. I would love to see that iterated. I think that would just, that small, tiny little change would just make the end game experience for people who are kind of relying on their own tablet acquisition, not buying them off Trade League, to be just more self-sufficient and allow us to kind of, because Expedition is so great for what it provides you, like the Recombinator, essentially, if you're trying to like craft items. It is very, very nice for that. Before we go any further, dude, and I'm having a blast just like chatting with you about the, you know, the general topics that are coming up with regards to PoE2, I wanted to rewind. This is something that I do on every episode of the podcast, and this is going to be no exception, especially because this is the first time we've ever had a chance to hang out and chat. I wanted to start off with just asking you sort of some preliminary, like early day questions, starting off with, what was just like your first foray into gaming, and what were you playing on when you were kind of just getting started?
I've always been gaming in some extent, which is just like endless zone. But yes, that's when I was pretty excited about it from a content creation, because I'd just done this stuff with Diablo 3. It was starting to slow down a little bit. I was like pretty excited about this game, really like hooked on the genre. Like Diablo 3 kind of gave me an itch that the game didn't scratch because of its, you know, various issues and whatnot. I was like, oh man, I want more of this. Diablo 3 is not doing it. And then, so obviously Path of Exile was the game to deliver that for many people. And for me, I was also like, this is a completely unknown game. No one knows anything. It's hyper complicated. Look, it's an absolute like content creating nerd's wet dream. I'm like, let me make videos about literally everything. So I did. I made like videos of like, you know, when you click on a gem in PoE2 and it shows you what the gem does. I made videos for that, like of different skill gems. I made videos on how to set your hotkeys. What else did I do? Like just micro elements of like using flasks properly. I made like little micro guides about everything. Oh yeah, I made a guide on how to beat Mervale by putting cold resistance on your character and using a shiver sting. Hilarious. It's so funny going back and looking at some content, just kind of like how low the bar was for like quality of content then in some ways, because there just wasn't any. So anyone making anything that was like even at any sort of reasonable value to it, it's like now I only make videos if I think they like have like a lot of value. It's like now, but then it was a different story. You just make whatever crap.
It was kind of like the wild west, basically, because I could imagine that when you sort of got your hands on the game, there weren't that many people playing it, because they were kind of like initially drip feeding this sort of early access or, you know, beta access, and then all of a sudden, you know, it was a $20 purchase. Was there anybody else of note that you could remember maybe looking at on the YouTube feed and seeing that was making content around the same time that you were as well?
It was like Crip and then no one else major that I can really remember from the time, like a bunch of just people doing like, you know, stray one-offs or little videos, bits and pieces here and there, discussions on the forums, that sort of stuff. It was like no one really knew anything, but there wasn't really like much in the way of content creators, so definitely got the advantage of like being in early when there was just like not many people making anything. Yeah, there was like a few people, maybe even some that are still around today, and I apologize that I don't remember their content from way back then, but like if anyone was making content, it was kind of just like a little bit here and there. But Crip was the only one who was like really making some pretty big content and getting a lot of views on it.
Right. Okay.
He really like blew up with that game, I think. Like to some extent, he blew up more with Hearthstone, I guess. But Diablo 3 and Path of Exile, that's where I think he really kind of like got started.
Absolutely.
So big one for him too.
For sure.
Yeah, that was so. When I moved across country and started streaming Path of Exile and making content for that, pretty soon was when I kind of was like properly full time.
Yeah.
As in like earning enough to make a living, and thankfully then after a while Amy was able to stop doing the terrible work that she was doing, and she started doing her own content creation and became my full-time manager as well, which was really good because like I think my lifestyle career mindset meant that like the biggest thing that I want for myself and for my family is, and the thing that I value the most is the ability for us to just kind of focus on the things that really excite us and make us interested, and kind of like live a comfortable life with that, even if that doesn't mean like ever particularly getting overly wealthy or anything like that. If that's all I can do, is just mean that, you know, my family can be like, hey, I'm interested in this new hobby, and then they start doing that, or, you know, I want to do this for a living, and then they can make that work, and I'm happy. That's all I really want.
I can definitely relate to that. I mean, I'm a full-time artist as like my primary job, and so awesome. I kind of accepted the fact that like I was never going to be like overly wealthy or anything like that, but the job itself was something that I've always loved to do from a very young age, and so I still feel like eternally lucky and grateful and all the things, just because I've been able to kind of turn that passion into like a career. And I've had a lot of shit jobs throughout my life, and so you can kind of look back on those and be like,
specific other piece of content or something is like a nice little nostalgia trip. It's like going back and playing D2. In many ways, that'll probably be an easier pill to swallow at that point too. Like more people will have, because like every time they improve PoE 2 a bit, more of the holdouts are converted.
Yes.
Like a higher percentage of them become PoE 2 players.
Absolutely.
Either as well or instead of PoE 1. So like eventually there will only be like a small fraction of people that will never play PoE 2. And those people at that point can keep playing PoE 1 in its maintenance mode, which will probably have like small content updates and stuff like that. It'll just be like, you know, the sort of thing like a couple devs can do at, you know, on a 6 monthly cycle or something like that, which is probably a good place for it to be long term. Is like, yeah, PoE 1 gets an update every year or 2 updates every year. I think that would be great. That's about the amount I would, after 1.0 PoE 2, want to like go back and revisit it. The same way that I would revisit Diablo 2 like every year, right?
Yeah.
I go back and play like some different mod of Diablo 2 I haven't played yet. You know, once a year or once every 2 years or something.
Me too.
Kind of like where PoE 1. That's the graceful retirement I hope for PoE 1.
Yeah, it's kind of like what Diablo 3's treatment has got as well, right? Where they're still actually getting like some sort of seasonal reset, some sort of like additional content or whatever, but it's not like the grandiose expansions that once were. And I like what you said, sort of as the development of PoE 2 continues more and kind of fleshes out with content and systems and mechanics, it gives like people less and less of a reason to enjoy it or not want to play it, when it kind of gives you everything that PoE 1 can offer and more. And so I feel like that is a pretty realistic outlook on it, for sure.
And I saw that you wanted some hot takes. This kind of like dives into one of mine.
Yes.
So we can do that now if you want then, because I gave this some thought. I was like, what is my hot take? And my hot take is that and this feeds into what we were just talking about, is that part of the reason why I think it will be fine for PoE 1 to go maintenance mode after a while is because PoE 2 is likely going to end up being far closer to Path of Exile 1 in gameplay pacing, power, zoominess, gear progression, etc. than what people think, and even what they've kind of like taken away from what GGG have said. I don't really see like some big slowdown correction happening. That's just going to all of a sudden change it to what like 0.1 Act 1 was like. Like, if we just look at the trend line from 0.1 to 0.4 for like our gearing, our power progression, and the speed and pace of gameplay, that like I think is a very strong indicator of where the game is going. There will be corrections along the way, but it's never going to be like some slow, grindy, you know, what is it? What's the term that's used?
Meaningful sort of combat?
Like methodical, yeah. Some
methodical,
like slow,
yeah.
methodical gameplay game.
Yeah.
That's not really what it's going to be. It's going to end up being a bit of a fusion between the two. And this is actually not a surprise to me at all. Like, I 100% expected this, because from speaking to GGG, and this has like been stuff they've said publicly as well, it's just not really stuff that's kind of, I think people have taken in that much. It's like they've been pretty clear that they're fine if it ends up being similar to Path of Exile 1 in the end. The point with PoE 2 was to like reset the baseline and make the ceiling a bit more reasonable. And that is like, I think, a brilliant approach, because aiming for slow, methodical gameplay and then overshooting and ending up like PoE 1 anyway, because that's like the correct thing to do for the majority of players, because that's more fun. Doing that is brilliant, because you potentially get this great fusion of like fluidity and speed from PoE that we like the game has become known for over time. Wasn't originally that. I remember when PoE 1 was complete opposite, but but that's what it's known for now, like a fast, fluid, exploding action RPG. But if you do it this way, what they're doing with PoE 2, you can slow the game down and it'll still feel good. So you can do boss fights or specific pieces of content that are slowed down and the game will still feel good. Because if you take Path of Exile 1 right now and slow it down, it feels awful, because speed is a band-aid. It's the salve to the clunkiness and many issues that Path of Exile 1 has. It does a really good job of covering up those issues, but slow Path of Exile 1 feels awful. And there's like, it's far more intolerable to have like no move speed in PoE 1, for example, than it is PoE 2 right now. Sprint alone made a big difference there, but
oh yes,
PoE 2 you actually can slow down and it can still feel good. So I think that's a good place to aim. But I think ultimately the game's going to end up being similar, but PoE 2 will be better for it, get on through this whole process. So I think that's kind of my hot take there, and also the reason why I think like at a certain point it's going to be, people will be mostly fine with PoE 1 going on live support, and that point might not even be that far away.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I know. I can definitely see where you're coming from. It's interesting though, like the slow and, you know, use the term methodical gameplay, I think is still very prevalent, especially in like the league start, like first playthrough of the campaign aspect, which I really do enjoy. I think it is one of my favorite like parts of playing the game, is like when you have nothing and you actually have to sort of engage in that, like, yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, it's fun to play at that pace, a lot of it as well. Like,
yeah,
like early Act 1 fighting Count Hogum and stuff was still like one of my highlights all time. Like, coolest boss fight. Like,
absolutely.
Most engaging kind of things. Like, it actually can feel good at that pace.
And it contributes to like the overall like power scaling that you feel in terms of like the progression of your character.
Exactly.
Where, you know, and I think they've actually kind of done it quite well, where, you know, the progression over time, you really do feel those increases in speed and all that kind of things. Whereas in PoE 1, from my like very limited experience, like you kind of have that baseline of like cross blink, leap slam at such a low level that like the progression or the speed or the whatever you would want to call it, I think gets to a certain like high point, and then you don't really get crazy amounts of increases until like later on and maybe at the end game and stuff like that. But with PoE 2, it's like much more of like a slow increase, but like consistent, I guess, which feels nice in my opinion.
Don't get me wrong, there's some big pacing issues in PoE 2 right now. Like, my biggest issue with the game, probably of anything at the moment, is like zone size, particularly in the campaign, and missing exits. Like the detection radius on the minimap is like a pinhole. Like, it's so small that you can literally have the exit right touching the edge of your screen. Your character sees it. I'm imagining looking through my character's eyes. They're like, the door's there. But we walk straight past it. I never see it. I explore a massive zone, take 20 minutes to explore, and then I'm looking around, I'm scrolling the map around looking for the exit, and I can't see it. And then it's like some little bit that kind of goes off to the edge there.
Yeah.
And it's just this subtle little change in the coloration of the line that indicates that you missed a section there. And it's like I walk over there and I like get the thing on screen, and then all of a sudden, pop, it's on the minimap. Like, oh my god, you're kidding me. The two things feed into each other, like this current zone size and pacing issues, with the fact that you miss stuff. It's like, I don't know, does this happen to some of you? It's like
it's weird because PoE1 they just
you don't get that while leveling.
PoE1 they fix that. Like I noticed when I was playing through Keepers of the Flame, going into the mud flats, it was like I'm not sure who the creator was. It might have been Rax who was saying that like they actually buffed like the distance that you could see like the next entranceway to a zone and stuff like that in Keepers of the Flame. And it honestly felt like incredibly good to just be like, oh, it's like up here. Like it's so easy to just like be on the map and see where it is. And so it's kind of weird that like they haven't implemented that in PoE2 as well.
I mean, there's this idea that like the light radius scales your minimap thing, which is very cute. And it's like that's the solution, except you don't like get that. That's not a thing you have access to. It's not like there's some sort of lantern item you can equip to like increase your light radius. It just does not work currently. And then yeah, there's definitely some issues with pacing that they're gonna. This is one of those things where like I'm like, you guys are gonna slowly learn